Hey everybody, can you please get seated? We're going to get started here in a minute. Everybody, can I get your attention, please? Thank you. We got a few more stragglers coming in here. They'll come in patiently and quietly while Huma gets them to do their engagement survey. Anyways, I just want to say good afternoon to everyone. I want to start by welcoming and thanking everybody for coming here this afternoon to the second quarterly meeting of the fiscal year 2024. For any of the new faces here or anybody I haven't had a chance to meet, I'm Steve Midledge, General Manager of Power Utilities. Our host today is actually going to be our overhead line division, Taryn Joseph, and then his associated team. Today's agenda is going to be pretty typical of our past quarterlies, with the exception of a special guest speaker that we have coming in here shortly, who I'll introduce. As usual, we're going to start with Wes Pegg from Health and Safety. He's going to do our HSE update as well as some good catch presentations. That's going to follow by our exciting presentation by Taryn Joseph and team from the Overhead Line Division. Following that, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, who's going to discuss a few items about mental health. Followed to that, we're going to have Huma Nasir, Brendan McCracken completing the HR update and service awards. After that, last but not least, you'll be stuck with me for a few more minutes, and I'm going to do our regional update followed by our raffle prizes. Just a little quick housekeeping before we get started. If everybody can please silence their cell phones, just out of respect for all the presenters here today. And just if there is an emergency, there's emergency exit there, and here, and we'll make the muster point out front of the main entrance there. That being said, we've got a lot of presentations today. It's going to be pretty jam-packed, so don't anticipate on getting out of here too early. That being said, we can get started with the one and only Wes Pegg to start with our health and safety update and safety moment.
Can everybody hear me? Oh, good. You took the clicker for... So the one and only, well, I appreciate that introduction. I'm sure when they made me, they broke the mold. That's for, I see some heads nodding in agreement. Thanks, Fred. So what I'm going to go through today, safety moment, talking about National Day of Mourning, regional statistics. Is this thing okay? Okay. Some injury trends. Some improvement initiatives, talk about CORE again, our urgent triage program, and some good catches. So lots of good stuff, no videos today. So April 28th, everybody knows what that day is. It's the National Day of Mourning. It's right across North America. It's really a day, it started in 1991, and it's a day that we remember or honor and think about workers who have been either killed or injured on the job or made ill by their work. It's also a day that we really got to look internally and collectively make a commitment to working safe. And that's really what it's all about. Now this year, the 28th of April is on a Sunday. Normally we recognize the day at work at 11 o'clock in the morning, so I will send out a reminder the end of the week and also on the Monday, and really take the time yourself and reflect if you have worked with anybody who has been injured on the job. Unfortunately, I'm sure there's lots of us that know people that have been hurt on the job, so just keep that in mind. And it's really not, it's a day that is chosen, but you know, we need to be thinking about our commitment to working safe year-round, not just on the 28th of April. So moving on, I'd like to talk about some statistics. So in the utility region this year, from January 1st to the end of March, we've already worked 217,000 man-hours, lots of activity. We only have one recordable incident and 3 first aids, which is good. Gets us below the target of 1. And our total incident rate, which includes all injuries, we're below 4, which that's an important milestone. For the fiscal year, the hours are higher because it's from November, and that's how we're measured across our company. We're still having not a bad year, but again, 2 medical aids and 6 first aids over the year. Our friends in Northeast US, there we go. They had that one lost time accident we talked about at a previous meeting, but since then they've been having a terrific year. No incidents, no injuries, nothing, so good for them. It's nice to see them back on track. The one that has the amazing statistic this year is Intera. We all work with the guys from Intera, you know, some of us on the same crews. They're having a fantastic year. No recordable incidents, not even 1 first aid incident to share. So, what's their secret? They're doing the same work as we are. I've been often asked that. What's that? I heard somebody from the crowd. Anyway, you know, are they doing anything different than we are? I mean, the work is the same as ours. They plan their work, they work their plans. So, you know, keep in mind that that's a target we need to shoot for, and they're setting the example, so good for them. So when I combine all our activities here in Southern Ontario at a Pullman Court for the utility group, for the first quarter we've reached 432,000 man-hours. That is a ton of activity for this year. And we have 1 medical aid and the 3 first aids. So, you know, really having a good year, lots of action, lots of work activity. Injury trends is really what I want to share with you today. And I have 2 time periods up there, November to March of last year and November to March of this year. And what I want to draw your attention to is last year we were concerned about young workers. They were the ones that were getting hurt. This year, it's our crafty veterans, the ones we rely on, 25 years plus in the field. You know, all the senior members of our teams, I guess, they're the ones that are getting injured this year. So, you know, keep this in mind when you guys have your crews planning your work, make sure the work's getting assigned. And, you know, what are we doing with the guys that are the older workers? Are we leaving them off to the side because they're extra experienced and we know they can do the job right? But honestly, at the end of the day, we're finding those are the guys that are involved in the incidents more so this year. So, another trend that really hasn't changed year over year is the predominant day for incidents and injuries in utilities, and that's Thursday. So for a lot of you in the room here, Thursday is your Friday. It's the end of the week. So what's causing those incidents? Last day of the week, is your mind on your task or is your mind on the weekend ahead, right? And again, during our planning, you're working Thursday. You're working from start to quit. So don't rush to the end of the day. Take your time, get the work done in a timely fashion. The weekend won't leave without you. So, you know, again, Thursday is the day. It should be a good day to end your week, not a day to start off a weekend and getting injured. The top causal factors related to this stuff, year over year, the repeats are always the same, unfortunately. You know, failure to identify risks, failing to use personal protective equipment properly, and really inadequate preparation and planning. Sound familiar? I mean, it's a repeat that I've talked about quarter over quarter, and really the easiest stuff to fix. So improvement plan, pretty straightforward, right? 3 P's for improvement: process, procedures and practices, training and equipment. We talk about this all the time on our supervisor calls, on your daily work activities, planning, project safety plans, pre-jobs, permits. This is the stuff that's in place to help you plan your work, make sure that you execute what you plan on doing, and catch any errors or omissions when you're putting the stuff together. And last but not least, personal protective equipment. Make sure it's correct for the work activity and correct for the hazards that you've identified. Now, I talked about in another group, the quarterly, about these high flex gloves, the gray palms with the white back. I mean, those gloves are fine for handling paper, cardboard boxes, but they're no good for working. And we've talked about this before too. I mean, those gloves, they should stay where they're at on the shelf. The stuff that we need in utilities are far more durable, stronger. They should have a minimum cut rating of 4. We've set a standard for the tool room to start stocking now and getting rid of all those high flex gloves because they're crap and they don't do anything to help protect your hands. And the incidents of late that we've been having on our hands are cuts or abrasion, and it's usually on the back of the hand. So the gloves we've spec'd as well have a 360 protection on them. And there's more durable gloves depending on what your task is. I included the glove chart on previous supervisor calls. When you're planning out your work, have a look at that chart and make sure you've got the right gloves for the guys on your crew, and make sure that they're that they fit the hazards and the tasks that they're doing. Okay, it's one of the easiest things to prevent. The availability of them is not a problem. They have tons of stock. So again, get rid of those high flex gloves. I don't want to see them anywhere. Maybe a gardening glove at home, but certainly not on the job here. So some more improvement initiatives or things we need to think about this time of year, and it's really housekeeping. We're in the spring of the year, and we need to be cleaning every day. Not at the end of the week, not at a panic because you heard the MOL is coming by or heard the customer's coming to tour their site. Cleanup is every day. It's a daily activity. It makes for a safer site. And again, this time of year is when we see those same level slips, trips, and falls. And normally the biggest contributing factor to that is poor housekeeping. So take that to heart. Go to your sites and see how they are as far as your housekeeping activities. The toolbox talk on good housekeeping was in the last comfort zone that I sent out at the beginning of the month. So, I mean, you see the theme, it's pretty straightforward. It's springtime, you're cleaning at home, cleaning on the job site. Again, make sure that we spend the time to clean up our sites, make them safe for ourselves and our clients. So we've got an exciting year this year with CORE 2020. We did our internal audit last year, which was a bit of a challenge, but helped us find some holes in our safety management system. We've got all these new programs that have been updated and rewritten. They're available on e-compliance, and I urge you, those that are on e-compliance, to get on when you're doing a task and one of these programs are part of the task you're doing. Read them and reflect and see the guidance that's in there. We had to update these in order that we be compliant with the CORE audit. And the good part about the audit this year is it's province-wide. So it's not just our region, it's not just mechanical, electrical, Ottawa, Hamilton, Southwest Ontario, and also power generation. So we have one audit, and we're all sharing the same activity. We're all doing our own submittals, and we're all responsible to be compliant with the program. But at the end of the day, having a province-wide audit is going to be better for all of us. So if you're lucky enough to be selected for an interview, please answer thoroughly, and if you don't know the answer, you tell them you don't know the answer. But if somebody asks you what our health and safety policy is and where you can find it, I hope you pull out your safety handbook or point to the policy posted on the board in your trailer. Urgent triage program. I want to remind you about that. You have an injury, somebody on your job gets an injury, make the call. If it's a 911 event, obviously you people are qualified first aiders, make the 911 call. But if you're not sure, to get some guidance, call the nurse. She's an ER nurse, she knows her stuff, she'll go through the list with you and help guide you on whether the injured worker needs to go to the hospital or if you can just take care of the treatment on the site. The real bonus about dealing with this nurse, besides you getting accurate guidance, she was an ER nurse, and she will also put a report together. If you have to go to the hospital with your worker, she will send you that report to take with you to the triage nurse at the emergency ward. And that'll help you when you're in the queue. It'll help the worker get treated faster and save a lot of time. So that's why we have this service. It's there to help you prevent unnecessary trips to the hospital, but also when we have to go, you have the right guidance and a report in your back pocket. Sorry about the sound system. Keeps making lots of noises. So, last thing I want to talk about here, something nice and positive. So, we've talked about good catches in the past, and we have a group here in our utility region who was selected as the winner, the best good catch for the company in the first quarter. So I'll just read it out to you. So the crew observed contractors cleaning out the tracks along the transit corridor. After the contractor vehicles left the area, our crew noticed plywood coverings used to protect the cable pulpits located between the tracks had been knocked out of place. The foreman stopped work on his task to ensure that his crew were able to replace the coverings. The foreman reported the situation to the general contractor with extra emphasis on identifying the hidden hazard that these pulpits present to both pedestrians as well as traffic, and the hidden hazards created by the pits when obscured by the snowfall. Not only did the crew correct the newly exposed hazard, but they took steps to raise awareness and potentially prevent an incident from occurring. So, job well done. So you see, there was 47 submissions, 5 get selected by the Corporate Safety Committee, of which I'm a member, and then we send those to the senior management team, and from that they select the winner. So, without further ado, the winners are, as you see, I'm going to call it up one by one, and get a new microphone next time we do this. Pardon me? How's that? Did I say that out loud? Just, okay, we're good. Nobody breathed, nobody gets hurt, nobody moves, we're all right. It wouldn't be a quarterly unless I messed up, would it? Honestly. Okay. First one I want to see come up, Raymond Cameron. Can you come up, please? Come on, Ray, get up. Chris Duffy. I don't see, is Chris here or no? Better not be hiding. Tyler Andrews. Guess we should have the spotlight on you, Tyler. And last but not least, the leader of the charge, Ewan Cameron. Enthusiasm. Thanks very much, gentlemen. Appreciate your efforts for sure. Some nice stuff, and it's nice to be recognized not only in our region, but certainly being recognized around the company. So that's excellent. Thank you very much. And I'm finished. I'm sure you'll clap for that.
I guess since Wes didn't formally introduce anybody, I'll give it a little introduction to Is Ryan doing the presentation or Taryn? Oh, okay. To Taryn, so here you go. Oh, you guys.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Wes. So, good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Taryn. I feel like I've been at Black & Mac for quite a while. Like some of you here, I started out of school, and yeah, it's been here since. So I started in overhead lines a long time ago. Stayed there for about 11 to 12 years. Took a little break, went to street lighting for 3 to 4 years, and now I'm grateful to be back. Been in the region for a long time, so really pleased to see all the wonderful improvements we've made in the region. Just to Wes's point before I get started, to the team that won the Good Catch Award, awesome job. Good catchers are so vital to how we look at safety and how we look at our tasks at hand, and being proactive is what it really shows. So again, congratulations to everyone who were recipients of the Good Catch Award. So just wanted to introduce our team, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have Louis Landa come up and do a little presentation on BTFA, and then Louis is going to introduce Ryan, who's going to do a little bit on Hydro One. So with our Electra team, this is our project staff, sorry. We have John Delag, and Summit George, and Adelio Martone, dealing with our Electra Central and Electra West contracts. With Hydro One and Burlington Hydro, we have Ryan Wright as PM there. And with Ryan is Cash, Shora, Jose, and Peter Farwell, who's going to be an intern for us. With the Toronto Hydro work, specifically for BTFA, would be Louis Landa, Bennett, Vishal, and Abu. And actually, our grid response contract will also be managed by Louis Landa. And then with our Toronto Hydro work, specifically our Scarborough Subway Extension project, we have Ismail and Louis Checo. I will also wanted to mention we have Krishani and Jackie on our team as our admin staff, and that's our project staff for the line division. Going on to our field staff, Christian Pilgrim's our operations manager. With our Toronto Hydro, Metrolinx, and Electra work, Electra Central work, we have Chris Morfitt, Al Glover, and Carlos Candela. At Hydro One, we've got six leaders there: Evan Gilkey, Andrew Somerville, Jamie Tracy, Travis Totter, Kirby Russell, and Jeff DeCourt. And with our Electra West and our Burlington Hydro work, we've got Joel Rodier and Chad Simpson. So I just wanted to take some time to acknowledge the whole team. It's not just project staff, but our leaders in the field as well. And with that, I'm going to bring up Louis Landa. Louis, there you are, who's going to do a little presentation on BTFA.
Hello, everybody. My name is Luis Landa. I actually recently joined the line division October of last year. I worked with ICI for many years, since 2010, so it's been a great challenge and a great experience. Since I joined, I've been the project manager of the BTFA group of projects. So let's start with the agenda that I have for today. We can have a little bit of an introduction of what is our BTFA projects. We will understand what's the actual Building Transit Faster Act issued by the city. A little bit of, we're going to present all the project team, the office crew and the site crew involved in this project, and we can go a little bit about all the different group of projects. This is one of the biggest project portfolio that we have on the line division. And at the end, I'm going to be presenting a little bit of a video showing how the Ontario line is going to look at the end. So BTFA basically stands for Building Transit Faster Act. On July 8, 2020, the Building Transit Faster Act, BTFA, came into force. introducing measures that streamline project delivery and support the accelerated completion of the priority transit projects, identify in Ontario's new subway transit plan for the Greater Ontario area, as outlined in 2019 Ontario budget, the Ontario Line, the Scarborough subway extension, the Young North subway extension, and the Eglinton Crosstown West extension. So why BTFA? The BTFA targets steps into planning, design, and construction process that have delayed major projects in the past. Basically trying to avoid having another Eglinton Crosstown delays. The legislation removes roadblocks and gives the province the tools needed for Metrolinx and Infrastructure Ontario to deliver the priority transit projects faster. What we're doing right now is basically the early work, kind of relocating all the utilities in major intersections in the city. So for Metrolinx, we'll build the new stations for Ontario Line subway. Everything is ready for them. Here you can see how the Ontario Line is going to look at the end. So it's basically 15 kilometers and 15 new stations that are going to be built around the city. The name of the Ontario Line, as you can see, is starting from Ontario Place, going all the way northeast to the Ontario Science Center. Along the way, here on the BTFA group of projects, we have many of these stations. We have currently work on Keenan Bathurst. We have work on Girard, Pape, Cosburn, Science Center, which is basically Don Mills and Eglinton. Also on the Eglinton West Corridor, you can see all the new stations being built. We have a couple, Scarlett and Jane. Jane being one of the ones we already completed back in 2023. And so how are we completing all this project? For the BTFA group of projects, we are part of a joint venture with Somerville. Somerville is basically taking care of all the civil aspects of the projects. They're building new chambers, connecting the chambers, completing the dock bands. Once they finish, we go do all the electrical scope of work. We have new poles installation, replacement of transformers, doing all the new underground feeders. It's a challenge to be working as a joint venture with another company, basically sharing all the information, sharing all the costs, sharing all the profits. So our client being Toronto Hydro, we basically go to all the meetings as one company, being Somerville and Black and McDonald. If you're driving to one of these major intersections, wherever you will see all these signs, you will always see the Somerville, Black and McDonald joint venture. To give a little bit of introduction, I know Taron already presented our team, but this is our office team located at 77 Roadside. Taron Joseph was the division manager, myself being the project manager. Abu recently joined as a project coordinator, Bennett, another project coordinator, and Vishal being our warehouse coordinator. And for sure, Rachel Wan and her group helping with the design. One thing I didn't mention, but some of these projects are design and construction, so we also, our design team, also prepare all the drawings. And once finished and everything's approved, we get the green construction folder to go and carry on the work. Our site team, led by Chris Morford as a general foreman, Carlos Candela as the foreman, and Al Glover, then the other foreman for the Toronto Hydro crews. So a little bit of, here's a list of different projects that falls under BTFA, starting with Keenan Bathurst, which is one of the most challenges projects that we could have under BTFA. has a status of completed, recently finished in February. Working right now and just completing all the documentation and closing out the project for a value of 2.5 million. Scarlet Street, which is basically Scarlet and Eglinton, is ongoing, approximately 40% progress, looking for a completion date of October 24, which might get delayed to next year because there's been some kind of a lot of problems with that specific location. Jane Street completed in November 2023, 1.6 billion. John North Street completed in 2023, 1 million. Pavy Station is ongoing, is the one that Al Glover is currently working night shift. We are looking for a completion in May 31st for 2.3 million. Don Mills and Eglinton, right now, if you're passing by that intersection, you will see all the construction going on. It's basically Somerville building new chambers and connecting the chambers with docklands. They're looking to finish their part, the civil part, hopefully in May, and then we can have our crew mobilizing and starting with all the underground cable pulling and splices and replacing the feeders. Gerard Portal is ongoing on the civil part with a completion date of October 24, 6.8 million. And then we have the last three, which is still under the design part with Rachel. I think right now they are probably 80% designed. Cosburn, Bain, and Salmon. Those will be the last three projects, some of them Cosburn and Salmon, with an estimated completion date of January 2025, and you can see the values there. Just to give you a little bit, for one of the biggest projects that we have at BTFA for sure was King and Bathurst. Installation of new dock bands, underground feeders, and overhead lines and replacement of poles, transformers replacement. The project is currently 100% complete, was completed in February. And it's one, like I said, it's one of the biggest challenges. First of all, the material long lead times, especially transformers. I wasn't there when this started, but I understand when in 2022, when all this started, if you wanted to get one of those transformers, you're probably looking at 24 months. So that's why we have to be really proactive and working with the design team, ordering those transformers right ahead on time. But at the end, it worked fine, and we were able to complete the project in February 2023, which is basically the correct completion time. Don't forget, these BTFA projects have some penalties for sure if you don't complete the projects on time. So there's quite important liquidated damages if you don't finish by the time that we promised to Metrolinx. This is a highly congested area, traffic, pedestrian, streetcars, having to have sometimes two pay duty officers at the same time to help us with managing all the traffic controls. For sure, that was one of the biggest challenge. And you are removing all these poles in a highly congested area, for sure. All the third-party attachments, like Bell, Rogers, having to coordinate with all of them to replace, to relocate their assets so we can go and remove all the poles. That's have been another of the biggest challenge right there. Here's a little bit of a picture of one of the old transformers that were replaced down there, and also the poles, the old box structure pole being replaced with new poles and new lines. Just to give you a little bit of to understand the amount of changes that we are dealing with these projects. Right here, you can see almost $5 million in changes only, being 77% civil change orders and 23% for electrical change orders so far. And the list keeps increasing every week. Every week we are submitting new change orders for all the projects. one of the major risks and challenges, like I was mentioning before, safety first. We're always working on major intersections area with high pedestrian and car traffic. The public eye, just to give you an example, there is one of the projects at Gerard. It's right there next to our public school. The neighbors are not really, the community is not really happy with us working there. So every time that we are looking to do there, like install a pole or replace the transformers, we have to give Metrolinx notice. They have to post like a community notice, letting them know that we are going to be there. Actually, Metrolinx have a dedicated person only dealing with the neighbors and making sure that everything is okay with them when we go there. So there is actually here, this actually came on the Star, saying they are building next to babies. Metrolinx under fire from parents from a scattershot approach to construction safety at Toronto School. Like you can see, not everybody's really happy with us working on those areas. Like I mentioned before, it's a really tight schedule with liquidated damages, and the amount of coordination that you have to coordinate with Metrolinx, coordinate with Toronto Hydro, coordinate with other subcontractors. There are many subcontractors. If one subcontractor gets delayed, other like 5 other subcontractors. So there is a lot of coordination, and this permits with the city is quite a challenge. Long lead materials is getting a little bit better compared to what we started probably 2 years ago. But we are working with Toronto Hydro to get all this material ready, transformer switches. Some of those SCADA switches also can take more than a year to get them. And like I said before, coordination with third parties and Metrolinx is also quite a challenge. Well, to finish, there is a couple of videos that I want to show. Basically, you can see how the Ontario line is gonna look at the end, hopefully being ready by 2032. I think that's the goal.
The Ontario Line, part of the largest subway expansion project in North America, is underway, and Metrolinx is working closely with its contractors to develop solid working relationships. Opportunities for contractors to bring their knowledge
There you go.
expertise, and innovation to this important project can be found through these 4 Metrolinx procurement packages: the Rolling Stock, Systems, Operations, and Maintenance Package, the Southern Civil, Stations, and Tunnel Package, the Northern Civil, Stations, and Tunnel Package, and the early works needed for the project that is critical for enabling the timely implementation of the other packages. Some of these early works include preparatory activities along the stretch of existing rail tracks where the Ontario Line will operate next to existing GO Transit rail services. We call this the Joint Corridor. An advanced work contract in this area will focus on protecting vital utilities within the rail corridor. There are 3 enabling works packages within the corridor's rail yard, known as the Dawn Yard. These packages will be phased, and they include Enabling Works 1, which involves shifting the existing GO tracks and signals to accommodate the Ontario Line infrastructure. Enabling Works 2, which includes building an access road to support future construction laydown areas and critical utility crossings. And available soon for bidding, providing ample opportunity for the construction industry, is the Enabling Works 3 package that consists of a 2-stage procurement process, a pre-qualification stage, and a shortlist of proponents to select the top-ranked team. The Enabling Works 3 package is a robust construction project that includes a new iconic bridge that crosses the Don Valley Parkway and Don River, with major excavations and civil infrastructure that transitions the Ontario Line tunnel to grade. The package also includes construction of an emergency service building and noise barrier, a new high-voltage transmission tower, and relocation of GO Transit track and signals. Excavation at the Dawn Yard will also be required to build an approximately 300-meter-long cut and cover tunnel, with a shift of tracks after the tunnel is complete. This portal, from tunnels to grade, will provide access to and from the new Lower Dawn Bridge. This new superstructure will be a network-tied arch bridge, clear spanning 120 meters over the Dawn River and Dawn Valley Parkway. Also imperative in these works is the construction of a new monopole and emergency service building that will house important subway equipment, communications, and utilities. In addition to enabling works packages in the joint corridor, we have another Ontario Line early works project called Lakeshore East, which consists of bridge replacements, retaining walls, and utility work. This project will follow the same two-stage procurement process described earlier. These project opportunities give our construction industry partners the chance to take part in a legacy infrastructure project that will become a vital component of Toronto's transit network for generations to come. For more information on the Ontario Line procurement packages and how to bid on these exciting construction opportunities, visit metrolinx.com/tenders.
And one more, just to show, it's just 1 minute showing how the actual train cars are going to look like.
The Waterfront Transit Network expansion is a priority project by the City, TTC, and Waterfront Toronto. It will provide new and improved infrastructure and expand TTC's streetcar network to serve the Eastern Central Waterfront. The Waterfront Transit Network expansion is a priority project by the City, TTC, and Waterfront Toronto. It will provide new and improved infrastructure and expand TTC's streetcar network to serve the Eastern Central Waterfront, East Bayfront, Lower Dawn lands, and pave the way for
Sorry for the technical difficulties. That's the one. Looking forward to get all these projects completed and looking forward to get the Ontario Line in somewhere in 2032. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think it's Tara. Who's next? Brian? Right, next.
Right, sorry about the technical difficulties. All right. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Wright. Apologies for the technical difficulties there for a minute, but so I've been with Black & Mac for 7 years now. I started with the civil division, and that was about 2 years, and then I've been with the line division for about 5 now. I'm looking after the Hydro One contract, which is new to the line division, the distribution contract that we have with them, so let's get started. So the agenda, the introduction, I'll introduce our Hydro One team briefly, go over the Cody contract, BBFA, planning customer capital projects, PCB transformer replacements, storm work, and go over a few challenges, and then there's a small video. So this is just a high-level view of our team. I know Taryn mentioned the overall line division, but this is the Hydro One contract specifically, just so you can get an idea of how we run this thing. We have engineering's involved pretty heavily, operations, our admin, our field supervisors, and our finance billing team. There's also quite a few field staff that help us with this contract that I couldn't fit up here, but so the Honey contract, Black & Mac successfully qualified as a Hydro One distribution system construction service provider, along with 6 other contractors in 2021. As a QSP for Hydro One, the Black & Mac can provide engineering, procurement, and construction services for various underground and overhead distribution projects across Ontario. Let me get this going. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is BBFA. So similar to BTFA, BBFA is the Building Broadband Faster Act. So the Government of Ontario has committed approximately $4 billion to provide access in every region of Ontario to reliable, high-speed internet by the end of 2025. Still got a long way to go, but we're doing our best to help Hydro One with that. Main service providers would be Rogers and Bell. And the main purpose of this was to expedite the delivery of high-speed internet to all Ontario residents and break down roadblocks that could potentially delay this program. So what does this mean to Black & Mac and Hydro One? So many telecom companies use joint use attachments on Hydro One poles to deliver their product. Due to the age of Hydro One system, many poles require make-ready work to allow for the new fiber to be installed. So this make-ready work includes replacing insulators, raising conductors, replacing cross arms, installing anchors, and replacing poles, which is where we come into play under the Hydro One contract. So we've completed 3 projects under BBFA to date, 1 in Brockville, 1 in Bala, and 1 in Tweed. And currently we're in the process of getting a few more going, 1 in Prescott, which is 4 phases, 1 in Arnprior, and Quinty in the near future. So with this BBFA work, 2025 it's a really daunting goal. It's taken a long time to get off the ground and get going, so we're doing everything we can, but there's still a long way to go when it comes to bringing high-speed internet to everyone in Ontario. So we're expecting this portfolio within Hydro One to really explode here very soon. So here's a few pictures. The one on the left is the guys working in Tweed, off-road in a farmer's field replacing poles. And the one on the right is in Bala, replacing a pole, and you can see it's pretty busy. Some of this work does get pretty involved. 4 circuits on that pole, and it's not as easy as Bell and Rogers kind of thought it would be, I think, from the start. So as you can see, it's pretty involved in a lot of these projects. So engineer, procure, and construct, EPC. So Hydro One's intended delivery model for the execution of most contracted work, including BBFA work, is an engineering, procurement, and construction model using the qualified service providers like Black & Mac. The principles associated with the EPC model include the following: collaborative and supportive and improved project planning, innovation leading to cost-effective design and construction methods, proactive risk identification, allocation, and management. So our engineering team is involved very heavily with the Hydro One portfolio and operations. We work hand in hand to tackle these projects, a lot of them anyways. So the next piece of this Hydro One work is planned and customer capital projects. We're involved in quite a few of these. cross-arm replacements being one, pole replacements, line rebuilds, and overhead and underground line expansions. This picture here is some of the guys replacing a cross-arm in the backyard in Aurelia area. So the cross-arm replacement program was one of the first jobs in this category we were awarded. We started last year. Cross-arms are a major component on the distribution system as they are fastened to poles to support the insulators and conductors. Hydro One has provided funding for this program to replace damaged or otherwise deficient cross-arms. Cross-arms identified as requiring replacement must be replaced like for like with identical framing, no design required. One of the challenges with this work when we got into it was the voltage. It's 44 kV, 44,000 volts, which isn't a voltage that we are too familiar with in the recent past anyways. So we had to tool up for that, get some new equipment, and it did take quite a bit of planning to get prepared for that work. So here's a couple more pictures of some guys. The guys replacing some cross arms, a little bit more involved ones. But yeah, I mean, it varied. Some days we would get 3, some days we get 2 structures done. Some days, like for example, these ones, really only get 1 of those done a day, and the amount of planning and coordinating just to replace a cross arm can be pretty heavy. We also are working on some pole replacements for hydro. So the R2 pole replacement program is something I'm going to talk about next. Distribution pole programs are performed to assess the structural integrity of wood poles. These programs identify structures that require immediate or short-term replacement and those that need to be included in future planned work activities. Structural tests and assessments activities classify distribution poles that require replacement into 2 categories. R1 is emergency replacement, needs to be done right away. R2 needs to be included in the next program. R2 poles will have a rating of greater than 2% average shell thickness or have obvious visual damage or both. So we're currently working on a 200 pole replacement project in Barrie, Aurelia, Stayner area. We're about 40% done, and it's going really well. I mean, it's a great area to work, and the guys are working through it efficiently, and it's good to see that coming together because I mean that was an EPC project, so it started with the design. The design team sent out surveyors to every pole, designed every pole, we priced it, and then eventually got approved, and we had to order the material at that point, which can be a challenge right now. Getting material for distribution work, so we're out there now though, so it's great. It's going really well. And we're also doing some line rebuilds and expansions for Hydro One. So Hydro One continues to reach out to Black & Mac to help with miscellaneous rebuilds and expansion projects. In many cases, these requests are generated when Hydro One identifies they don't have the resources to complete the work and the required time constraints. We've also started to see some more unique and challenging EPC projects come our way, which we're very excited about and currently in the design phase. Our engineering team is doing a great job. We've heard it quite a few times now from Hydro One that our engineering team is at the top of their preferred list. So I mean, some of these jobs they're sending us are very, very interesting. They're exciting, but they trust our engineering team and know they can figure it out and get these jobs built for them. So it's really cool to see. So keep up the good work. One job I wanted to highlight was an expansion project we did last year. It was the first expansion project we did for Hydro One. Under this contract, it was in Lucan. So the project was an expansion of a 27.6 3-phase circuit into the area of an upcoming subdivision in Lucan. The project was completed in 2023. And And the fuse was a construct-only project, which we were able to showcase our capabilities to Honey. Some of the challenges we faced were very intensive planning due to the number of customers affected by some of the outages. It was a last-minute request from Hydro One with a tight deadline that could not be extended due to the customer developer requirements. We had to quickly learn Hydro One's UWPC work protection procedures, and we had to navigate a new area. So I think this one they gave us about 3 weeks and said, "Can you guys do this or not?" And we said we could. So, I mean, Lucan, we had to find a yard, we had to mobilize, we had to meet the local Hydro One people, plan outages. So it was quite a bit to pull together in such a short amount of time, but it's really impressive to see the guys pull this one together. And one of my favorite pictures is this one, downtown Lucan. Pretty much every one of our trucks on the road here. A lot of planning for this one. This was a Sunday. We shut the whole town down, basically out of power for the day. Hydro One actually took this picture and sent it to me because they were impressed as well. So kudos to the guys getting this one done for Hydro. So PCB transformer replacements. In September 2008, the Government of Canada enacted the PCB regulation 2008-273 to begin to phase out equipment containing polychlorinated biphenyls. That's the last time I say that. PCBs from now on. The purpose of this regulation is to protect the health of Canadians and the environment by preventing the release of PCBs into the environment and by accelerating the phase out of these substances. So PCBs are synthetic compounds with stable chemical properties that were used mainly in electrical components until the 1970s. Although never manufactured in Canada, they were widely used throughout the country. PCBs have been classified as a probable carcinogen to humans and can produce highly toxic dioxins and furans if burned at high temperatures. So back in 2021, we got the contract. 2022, we started working with Hydro One on the first 2 phases of this, inspecting transformers to determine age and condition, and then testing the transformers to determine whether they have PCBs in them or not. And currently, we're in the 3rd phase of replacing transformers. So as you can see, here's a screenshot of some of the ones we're looking at right now, hoping to get going in the next couple weeks. But it looks kind of small on the map here, but that's quite a big area, so it can be challenging just navigating, okay, where do we need laydown yards? Where do we need certain crews? How do we tackle these bundles? And I mean, it goes anywhere from Windsor to Ottawa up to Tobermory, so that's a challenge in itself, but it's an exciting job. We're looking forward to getting it going. And here's a picture of a PCB transformer on the left there, and then the guys changing it out on the right. Some of them are, well, a lot of poles with Hydro One are tough to get at with trucks, so you see a lot of climbing with a lot of the different work we're doing. So yeah. Storm work. So over the years, we've been able to help Hydro One when they need it most in responding to storm damage. Restoring power to the customers safely is the #1 priority for Hydro One and Black & Mac. And Black & Mac is always one of their first calls when they need assistance. Shout out to all our storm responders, helping Hydro One get their customers back on. The recent storm we went to was in April. We had 18 linemen from Black & Mac and 15 Intera linemen. So, I mean, this is a great picture, just showing what the guys are getting into when they get called out for storms. I mean, it's one of the most dangerous work you can do in the line trade because you don't really know what you're getting into until you get out there. And so I love that picture. The one on the left, it's not great quality, but you can see one of our guys there deep into the woods, and another one on the right there. So some of the unique challenges with this Hydro One contract is work protection planning requirements. So typically we're used to planning a week, maybe a bit more than a week in advance. Outages, usually we can schedule 3 days in advance with most utilities. Hydro One requires 30 days. So everything you do has to be planned 30 days in advance. If you're climbing a pole, if you need a hold off on that pole, if you need an outage to change that transformer, it's 30 days in advance. So, I mean, a lot can happen in 30 days. So that's a challenge. I mean, weather, if it's a weather day, I mean, you planned this pole you're on 30 days ago, so, I mean, weather hits, then you have to extend it out, so it's not easy to plan. We're getting the hang of it, but it was tough to navigate for sure. It still is, but it was a lot harder at the start. Another challenge is half load season. So, I mean, we're not too used to working in these areas. So I didn't realize pretty much every road, once you get outside of the GTA, goes under half load restrictions in the month of April and May. So basically we can't be on the roads. So we had to pick and choose where we were working. It wasn't the most efficient, but we got through it. But it was a challenge that I didn't expect it to be that big of a challenge, put it that way. Next year we'll be a little bit more prepared. Another challenge, resource growth. We've been growing at a pretty good pace, building crews. I mean, Hydro keeps sending us more and more work. It's getting harder and harder to keep saying yes, but we're doing our best to keep up with it. So it's a challenge. I mean, manpower, trucks, tools, material. It's all something you have to think about. Managing the variety of geographic locations. I mean, I showed you the map of the PCB transformers we're looking at. Hydro One has a huge territory, so we have a laydown yard in Barrie, we have one in Kingston, we have our Hamilton yard that we've had for a while, we have another one in Tweed. We're trying to strategically pick, okay, where do we need yards, where are we going next? Hydro One doesn't care too much about where you want to work. They send us projects where the work needs to be done, and we got to go wherever those projects are, so that's a challenge. Navigating the different work group processes within Hydro One. So, I mean, planning, like I mentioned, is tough. The 30 days notice. Hydro One has offices all over the province, so each one of them operate a little bit different. Some of them don't mind having contractors in their territory. Some of them do mind quite a bit. For the most part, they've been good, trying to help us be successful. But I mean, they're all a little bit different. So we're trying to build those relationships everywhere we go, every area we get into. It's like starting from the ground up. I mean, the managers at Hydro One we're pretty close with. We have a good relationship, but we also have to build our relationships with the field staff of Hydro One in each area. And it's not on here, but weather. Weather has been a bit of a challenge for us, especially with the 30-day planning, but we're working through it. Here's some pictures of our crews. And that's it. Thank you. Just we're putting the video on. One quick video, and I'm done.
I'm cool. Yeah, we're good. name's Ryan Wright. I'm the project manager looking after the Hydro One distribution portfolio. Some of my responsibilities as a project manager looking after this portfolio is helping our team secure the work, managing the resources that we have and deploying them.
Hi, my name is Christian Pilgrim. I'm the operations manager here at Black McDonald, responsible for overseeing the day-to-day operations of the line staff, the equipment that reports to different regions of Ontario.
Hello, my name is Jamie Tracy and I'm a line foreman here at Black & McDonald, and I work with the Hydro One project. My responsibilities with the Hydro One portfolio is to start off projects. I go in with the design team, help them with the design, and then start kicking the project off for the crews for their construction.
My name is Cashier Jones. I'm working as a project coordinator with Black & Mac. I stepped into Hydro One portfolio to a great responsibility for an opportunity to showcase my skills in organizing and coordinating the new yard setup in Barrie.
I'm Rosemaria John. I'm a project coordinator in line division. I'm taking care of the Hydro and broadband portfolio.
Hi, my name is Travis. I work at Black & McDonald. I'm a foreman at the company. My responsibilities at the Hydro One project are coordinating the day-to-day work with a crew of guys. We go out and work on site to accomplish the goals that are set out for that day.
Hey, hi, my name is Chris Morrow. I'm a third level power line technician apprentice with Black & McDonald, and every morning we prep our day with getting our materials, setting up our trucks, doing our safety checks, getting out to the job site, setting up our safe work environment.
My name is Jacob Romanek. My title is an apprentice lineman. My main responsibility would be running the digger truck and setting the poles in the ground. However, as an apprentice, our responsibilities range from anything from getting material ready and prepping all the stuff for the guys, starting trucks in the morning, making sure we have the right stuff, and when we get on site, setting up traffic and setting up a safety plan.
There's been a lot of milestones throughout the years. Black McDonald as a whole, specifically for the line trade, has diversified its portfolios several times over, starting with wind projects, solar farms, transmission lines into distribution, and now we've tapped into Toronto Hydro One. I really enjoy the collaboration that Black McDonald has within all its groups. The line trade, substations, electrical, engineering, design. It's very cohesive and collaborative group that I really enjoy working with.
What I enjoy most about this is that it's a brand new project and we get to build it from the ground up, and we're doing very well with it.
The most important one to me is company's culture. That organization values all the co-workers the same and treat them the same way, and they value diversity, and I think it makes opportunity for everyone to learn from differences.
I like the synergy. I like the way the crew meshes. I like the way that there's lots of open communication channels. I like the ease of the technology that we're integrating into the work. It's working out well for us.
I enjoy working with Black & McDonald for a number of reasons. The experience that my supervisors and my foremen have, the camaraderie and the team effort that our crews have.
The thing I enjoy the most is probably the guys and the atmosphere, as well as the locations that we get to work in. Being said, we're out here in Collingwood right now. It's beautiful out here, the weather's great, and we're in a great area.
We have 200 poles here to replace for Hydro One as part of their R2 replacement program. So we have kind of set up a bit of a lay-down hub in the Barrie area to support all of this Hydro One R2 pole replacement work. Let's continue to build this relationship and work safe and grow this thing and keep our client Hydro One as happy as we can. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan. That was great. Just a note on both Hydro One and BTFA. You're talking about two of the biggest utilities in Ontario, Toronto Hydro One. It's really a showcase for our abilities that those two utilities, two of the biggest ones in the province, and frankly, two of the biggest ones in the country, really trust Black & McDonald to give us work, to give us projects, to, you know, to show our dedication to safety. It's something special to know that we don't just work for a lot of the smaller utilities and one-off projects, but we have significant amount of work with some of the biggest players in the industry. So that's an excellent job, and it's because of the team with Ryan and Lewis and everybody else in our group that we're able to really push forward with this. And it's also because of the amazing work from our linemen. When I started, I think we were at 23 linemen. We're at 48 now, and that's soon to grow with grid response, which I'm going to talk about next. So just wanted to acknowledge all the linemen here in the line division, and you know, without your hard work and without your dedication to safety and you know, your professionalism out there every day and some of the most difficult utility work out there, our clients wouldn't be trusting us so much to give you guys work. So just want to give a hand out there to our linemen. Thank you. So I just got a couple more slides, and then I know Steve's giving me the music off the stage like at the Oscars, so I'll get through this quickly. A huge win for the region recently was the Black & McDonald Grid Response contract. Thanks to Jarlath and Joe, who were involved at the estimating piece of it. I came in sort of in the second half and at the end, and you know, I think Chuck, you and I were on the same call when I think Chuck said, hot off the press, I just got an email from Toronto Hydro. I opened it up and it said we were successful. So it was a huge win. I don't think by any means we were at least the favorites, but we pulled through, and it's a big win for the company. So Black & McDonald's awarded the contract on December 2023, a very difficult bidding process. We had to go in for many presentations. Thanks to also Sarmony and her team for really helping with the bid there. It's a 5-year contract, 2025 to 2029, although it's actually starting this October. So it's going to be starting early with 5 additional 1-year options. The scope of work, it's 24/7 coverage on emergency services Toronto Hydro. PM of this project will be Louis Landa. So this is providing 24/7 coverage on the grid for emergency services, outages, things that need to be replaced, things that are broken, things that are affecting customers and their power. Contract value is about $6 to $9 million a year. The number of workers, it's going to be about 18 to 19 people. We've just hired our supervisor. We have about 14 journeymen and 4 foremen on the project. So some of the challenges, it's a balanced shift schedule. Not easy to navigate around. You know, you have to build your shifts in about 4 to 6 months in advance. If people miss any of the shifts, you have to find replacements, and then that obviously can change the work structure, especially for those working at nights or weekends. It could change the hours of work, so it's not easy to kind of balance, to kind of find the right balance for that, no pun intended. The resource allocation, internal and external, obviously it's a significant contract. You're talking about 18 to 19 people joining. It's not easy to staff that many people, especially qualified people. And again, as Black & McDonald, you know, we're growing and growing and we're getting so big, and Southern Ontario itself is just, seems like every quarter I see significant amount of wins. We have to bring in the right people, and the people that understand the Black & McDonald way. That's very important. We just can't, we really have to understand who we're bringing in. Yard, start date, and the new Toronto Hydro processes. So again, no different from any other new contract. There's new processes and new things to understand. So really excited to get this going. It's going to be getting going mid to end of this year, and I'm sure this is going to add to our streetline portfolio, our ITS portfolio, and our other portfolios, our signed contract, as our footprint geographically in Toronto has now just gotten bigger. Just a timeline of some of our recent awards. I think Steve is going to touch on these a little bit more, but a very quick timeline. You know, we won the Grid Response Contract in 2023. In February and March, we won Toronto Hydro PCB transformer replacement, and then the Electra Central Conversion 7A, that was a big one. A significant project we just won with Electra Central was the Bram East Phase 1 to 4. That's about a $4 million project. It'll be a real showcase to Electra Central, who we've barely, we haven't really worked for them much in the previous years, so really great to meet a new staff there and showcase our abilities in the GTA. And again, as Ryan mentioned, we're working on quite a few things at Hydro One, but we will reveal them in due time. And I'll bring Christian up here quickly. Christian, as our operations manager. Christian, no pressure, but you got to do it in a minute and a half.
Perfect. I was told I had about 5 minutes up here, but I guess that changed to a minute and a half, which is fine. My name is Christian Pilgrim. For those of you guys that don't know me, I am the new operation manager for the line division. And I've been here with Black McDonald for almost 20 years now. And in that time, I've been able to succeed and grow. And with that growth, from an apprentice to where I am right now, I thought it was very important that I develop a program for apprentices that you can kind of see on the board. It's kind of small, but I can go through it really quickly. It's essentially a program that it developed with help of our wonderful staff from HR. It's essentially a 12-step program that will produce and keep the most talented journeyman in the Southern Ontario. This program gives apprentices the best opportunity to succeed through regular check-ins, meetings with their foremans, to identify any kind of gaps or weaknesses before moving on each year to become a journeyman. It involves tracking of logbooks, quarterly meetings to discuss areas where improvements can be made, laying out the framework for a well-rounded employee and giving them a sense of ownership, which encourages them throughout their whole career. So since my time here at Black McDonald, I felt always be a big part of a team, and I wanted everybody to grow and succeed kind of like I did as well too. So that's just me. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
One last item. Thanks, Christian. And while I give it to Steve here, I'm not going to go through every name here, but if anyone ever has heard that term, it takes an army or it takes a village. You know, I came in this division in August, and there goes that. Oh, it's back. Okay. There's a lot of people on this list that I want to just say thank you to our amazing support staff. People who have been supporting the division, supporting our PM, supporting our field staff, and without every single one of these individuals here, we would not be where we are. We would not be seeing the success. The reason I wanted to put this out there is I don't think everyone here fully maybe understands the amount of work some of our staff do behind the scenes to make things happen for us. I know everyone loves seeing results. Everyone loves seeing wins. Everyone loves seeing all the good stuff on the slides. But there are so many people that it takes to make that happen. And final point here from me is, that's Black & McDonald that's how I see it as a company. It's not just siloed divisions and siloed groups. We need several groups working together, several people working together and assisting to make something success. So when you do see a win up there, Steve's going to show the wins at the end. There are a lot of people in this room that are involved in making that happen. It's just not the division, and it's just not the project staff or operations staff. There's a lot of collaboration, and to be honest, that's what makes us special in Southern Ontario. So with that, I'm going to go to Steve. Come on up, Steve. And thank you, everybody.
Well, I can just play back what Taryn just said for my closing comment, so that'll make life a little easier for everybody. First, I just want to thank, obviously, Lewis, Ryan, Taryn, and Christian for coming up here. And by no means did I mean to give Taryn the hook there. I was just talking to Deb, but to say that with our record attendance here of 225 staff, that's an awful large overtime bill for Taryn to swallow, so it is important that we stick to the schedule here. So again, it's amazing to see the amount of work that the overhead line division is doing. It's astounding the amount of infrastructure that Black & McDonald is either building, rebuilding, or relocating across Ontario. So it's an impressive feat, and again, he already acknowledged it, but the work that they're doing with our engineering team, with Hydro One, Toronto Hydro, et cetera, it's really good to see the collaboration that they've got going there. Now, that being said, again, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact we have 225 people here today. It's been a bit of a competition between Arjun and Taryn, who's going to get the more attendance. Arjun was the last record at around 187 in person, so it's been swallowed by 225 plus whoever's on the remote link here. So I'm glad to see the numbers, and it's either everybody was really interested in the taco bar, the guest speaker, or we're just really growing as a company. So either way, it's good to see all the faces here, new and old. So. That being said, I'm talking slow because I'm sure there's going to be technical difficulties here, but again, I just want to say, as far as our guest speaker, I had the pleasure of hearing Corey speak at our leadership conference earlier this year, and I really thought it was going to be a benefit to everyone in this room to hear what he had to say. Renowned for his stellar career with the New York Rangers and Vancouver Canucks, we're thrilled to welcome to our stage Olympic silver medalist and mental health advocate, Corey Hirsch. Corey's life story extends well beyond the ice as he opens up about his battle with mental illness, and today we have the opportunity to hear from Corey himself. So, Corey, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Oh, are we good? Is this one working? Yeah. Oh. Should we use are we good? A little feedback. All right. So good to be here. Can we just turn down a touch? Should we get some feedback? We're good. Good to be here. You guys are a group that I like to speak to. So, you know, I grew up in construction. I grew up in Calgary. My dad was a plumber. I worked with him for about 6 weeks. It was the greatest thing I ever did because it made me realize I wanted to be a hockey player because goddamn, you guys work hard, right? Any groups like this. But today, some of this is going to be a little bit tough to hear. I'm here to educate. We're not just here to hear Corey's story and Corey goes home and we all feel sorry for him and that's it. No, I'm here to educate. I'm here to hopefully you'll see things that were missed with me. It might not be for you. It might be for a family member, somebody you know. You know, if you like it, great. If you don't, you can throw shit at me. But if you ever watch me play, you're not going to hit me anyways. So, you know, we'll go from there. But I'll give you a little rundown of who I am, who I was, and you know what I did. I played in the National Hockey League, played for Dallas, started with New York, drafted Washington, Vancouver was where I played most of my games. Got traded to Anaheim for $1 at one point. I don't know if I should be proud of that or if that should be like something I shouldn't tell anybody. But probably what I'm most known for in the hockey world is the 1994 Olympics. So in 1994 at the Olympics, we had a pretty good team going in. It was the last year they used amateurs to play in the Olympics. Around Christmas time, we got 2 players that joined our team. One guy named Peter Nedved, a guy named Paul Kariya. And both obviously great players. Paul Kariya's in the Hall of Fame. Instantly boosted our team. We went to the Olympics, we caught fire, got all the way to the finals against Sweden. Then in the finals against Sweden, we ended up 2-2 at the end of 3 periods, 2-2 into overtime, went into a shootout, 5 players each side shot, still tied. Now we're going into sudden death shootout. And the Swedes, they grew up with, you know, shootouts and all that stuff. We didn't in Canada, so they had a bit of an advantage. But Sweden shoots first. A guy named Magnus Svensson comes down on me. My goal is to get as aggressive as possible on him because we've played 3 periods of hockey, and on the ice I'm thinking, you know, the ice is bad. Maybe it's, you know, hopefully he'll lose the puck. I know, not a great plan for a goalie to have a guy, hopefully he loses the puck, right? But I wasn't a great shootout goalie. I was like, let's do it. So sure enough, he comes down. He takes me to his left. Ends up, puck flips over, he ends up missing the net. Great, my plan worked, wow. So now we've got a chance to win a gold medal. Peter Nedved goes. Now Peter had two moves. He had this wicked wrist shot that was incredible that you couldn't stop when he had time and space, and he had a deke that he used from practice. And I'm thinking, Peter, just shoot the puck, just, you know, it's a tough shot to stop, right? And the ice is bad. So he goes down on a goalie named Tommy Salo. Tommy Salo played for the Oilers, the Islanders. Tommy Salo wasn't even the guy at the time. The first goalie got sick. Second goalie's wife had a baby. And then he ended up being the guy in the net. Well, I mean, ended up having a pretty good NHL career. So Peter goes down on Tommy Salo, goes to his backhand, and sure enough, he's got a tap in for a gold medal. Puck flips over. Like I said, the ice was bad, rolls off the end of his stick. So we're like, great. So the story goes like this. Sweden's coach asked two guys to shoot, a guy named Mats Naslund, who played for Montreal, a guy named Håkan Loob, who played for Calgary. Both had Stanley Cups, great players, finishing their careers at the end of their career, trying to win a gold medal, an Olympic gold medal for their country. And coach says, wanted them to shoot. They're like, no, we too nervous, wouldn't shoot. That's when a 20-year-old phenom named Peter Forsberg stepped up, said, I'll shoot. Goddamn Peter Forsberg. And for those of you that haven't seen it, some of you haven't, if you haven't seen it in a while, we'll take a look at what happened.
Spin it wide. The arm wrestling of pressure shifts back. The 7th shot taken in the shootout to try to decide goal. Peter Forsberg scored in the first round.
All right, that's enough of that. I've seen it enough times, Peter Forsberg. That's how close I was to maybe winning a gold medal, but great players do what great players do, and now it's called the Forsberg, and anytime you see someone do it in the NHL, and I'm sure some of you guys and people that play still, you've seen it and you do it, well, the reason it's called the Forsberg is because he scored on me. But if that's not bad enough, they put me on a goddamn postage stamp in front of 20 million people. I got embarrassed, now I'm on a postage stamp. It's pretty cool though. But so anyways, I finished the end of my career in Sweden, just playing my last 3 years out in Europe. And I was playing, we were on the road, and I didn't have a very good period. We were down 3-0 or something at the end of the first period. And come off the ice, and some fans heckling me, going, the stamp, in broken English. And I looked at him, I said, hey buddy, every time you use that stamp, you're licking my backside, you know that, right? So, yeah, every once in a while. But what I'm probably known for now today is my work in mental health and my mental health advocacy, right? So in 2017, I had met another former player. Actually, this guy was an active player in the NHL at the time. He was in a treatment facility. I was living in Arizona, and I'd met him through an agent, so I was like, okay, he's in a facility, he's from somewhere else, you know, maybe he just wants to go for coffee. So I took him for coffee. Thinking, you know, like whatever. And I was like, at first when I met, I was like, what are you treatment for your knee? He's like, no, I'm in rehabilitation for drugs and alcohol. So I take him for coffee, and I didn't tell anybody this stuff, right? I mean, we all kind of keep it quiet, our mental health especially, because there, you know, there's a stigma. And I just started spewing my stuff to him. I had no idea why. I figured, well, he's had some issues, of course, substance abuse. I mean, he's probably got some, you know. And so I told him my story, and he stops and he pauses me and he looks at me and he goes, holy shit, that's what happened to me. And his mom had to resuscitate him twice from fentanyl overdoses, right? I mean, this is an active NHL player at the time, and I just went, whoa, I guess I got to get my story out there. And I was going to write a book. We ended up going to the Players Tribune online publication, and I talked about everything. I talked about anxiety, depression. I talked about obsessive compulsive disorder, which I was diagnosed with. I talked about a suicide attempt that I made while I was playing in the National Hockey League, right? And I was terrified when this thing was going to come out. I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen, right? I mean, who talks about their mental health? When it hit, it had almost 2 million hits in under an hour. Like, it went viral. Like, here's this kid from Calgary. I played 108 games in the National Hockey League, you know, and this article hits like LeBron James, Tiger Woods, like those types of articles, right? It's still one of the most clicked on publication. But what it showed me is that we're ready to start talking about mental health. We're ready to, we're tired of being treated like we have to go hide in some room, you know, because we've got mental health issues. In the 70s when, you know, Uncle Joe, you took him to to get mental health help, he got put in the asylum, you know, if he came out, he was a completely different person. That's if he came out at all, right? It was like shunned, people were shunned, families, you weren't allowed in places. And now we're finally in a time where we're like, you know, screw this, like we all need help. The numbers are 1 in 5. 20% of people that have mental health issues, right? I think they're more like 3 and 4. We just went through one of the most messed up things in history, which was COVID, which isolation is a recipe for depression and anxiety. So I think the numbers are getting bigger, and we need to help people, we need to educate people. So we're gonna watch a little bit of my story. I'll get into my story a little bit more, and then we'll do some stuff, we'll do some education, and we'll go from there. So here we go.
When you're a professional athlete and you have a physical injury, you can see it.
When it comes to mental health, you can't see it. And what people can't see, they're afraid of. I was 21, and it was just so much fun. I was living the dream. We had just finished playing at the Olympics. I'd won a silver medal, and on a run with the New York Rangers on their way to winning the first Stanley Cup in 54 years, so things were going in the right direction. I remember that moment, the exact moment in time where things just kind of almost stopped. I was out after a game with a bunch of friends, and then it just felt like something just broke. You go from thinking that you're going absolutely insane to, am I this monster that's thinking these terrible things? Thoughts are screaming at me. They're like screaming loud. And all I'm thinking about is how these 20,000 people, if they only knew what the thoughts were in my head. When you're a professional athlete and you have a physical injury, there's protocols in place. You need to do this, and we'll have you playing in 3 weeks. When it comes to mental health, we're still throwing a dart at a dartboard. At that time, I was playing with the Rangers. I'm the third goalie, and I'm getting worse. And I figured if I just got home, it would all go away. Well, if I had an injury, they can't use you anymore, you might as well go home. So back then they had stick blades. The bottom part was wood and the shaft was aluminum. So I took the stick blade out in my hotel and I just started trying to smash my hand with it. But I couldn't do it. Well, you're desperate, right? You're at a point where you'll do anything to make the thoughts go away. And the Rangers kind of get an idea that something's not right. So they end up moving me to Vancouver. I'm still having all this stuff, but everything's good. I'm hanging out with the guys.
Corey had climbed his way up and earned a spot on the team. Happy kid, excited about coming to the rink every day for sure.
That's the facade that you're trying to live up to. The thing about having a mental health issue is that you can hide it for only so long. So my second year, I'm just trying to hang on every day. It's getting harder and harder though. Like I'm starting to really spiral. I just wanted the thoughts to stop. I started losing a ton of weight. So now my illness is physical. You can see it, right? And guys are starting to wonder what's going on.
We weren't aware of what was happening, and he didn't want anyone to know. And there's a code in the room that would have been looked upon as being weak.
I walked in the locker room, I felt like less of a man than everybody else, right? I was hiding behind that mask, and then for my job, I'd go put one on. So I play that night, and I'm terrible. Like, I can't even see pucks. Like, I can't play.
If you're injured, you're sick, you don't feel good, no one cares. If you're in the locker room, you got to be ready to play.
My teammates are pissed at me. I can't hide it any longer. Either I got to tell somebody, or this time I was going to end my life. So I go over to the coach, and I was like, I can't play. So they called an emergency team meeting, and guys are looking at me like, you know, what's wrong with them?
Struggling mentally, it was just not something we'd ever seen before, and quite honestly was viewed upon as unacceptable.
Just the embarrassment and the shame was just the worst thing I could ever imagine. And I remember thinking I just threw my NHL career away. And it was then that I went and saw a therapist, and I finally get diagnosed. He sits with me for like 15 minutes and he's like, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. I was like, what? All those years that I had suffered, and all I had to do was talk to somebody and get diagnosed. Like, it was just so alleviating to know that there was a name for it and that I could get better. And that night I went out and shut out Dallas.
As his teammate and as his friend, I apologized to him to say, like, man, that's so sad that you were struggling with this and you had no one to turn to.
I've accepted that this is my path, this is my role. There's a reason why all that happened. And I played in the NHL. Just to play one game, just play 1 minute is amazing. Let's get the word to the kids. Let's get the words to our schools, to our children. A bad day is just one day. It's not, you know, there's always tomorrow. Our brains are the most complex thing that we have. They're going to break. So how do we help people when they do? All right. Thank you. Well, we'll take that's a bit of the cold. Let's take a little deeper dive. But this photo here is my favorite photo. And you would think it's because, you know, with Stanley Cup, but it's not for what you think. Because it shows me where I was and where I am today. So what you can't see in that photo is I'm suicidal. About 4 weeks after that photo, I would actually make an attempt to take my own life. that was my dream, was to win a Stanley Cup, right? To drink out of the cup. And here I am, and you can't see it in my face, right? You can't, that's why we need to, if you look at each other and the person beside you, you have no idea. You have no idea. You look at my face, right? Big smile, I got the Stanley Cup, drank out of it. 500 other people have drank out of it before you have, so it's a little bit, but I wasn't taking a chance, right? 500 people, I was drinking out of it. Very tinny, by the way, but if you look at that photo, yeah, I mean, you don't know, right? Like, you don't know what people's going through. That's why you need to be somebody that somebody can talk to, and also be able to have people open up and talk. Because like I say, 4 weeks after this, I made an attempt at my own life, and I played road hockey every day from the time I was 6 years old after school, every day. And it was always for the Stanley Cup, and here I am with it. And it couldn't have been, you know, it took me everything that morning, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, to get to the rink. But if you see that photo, it's the perfect example, right? Smile, you would never know. You would never know. So the next day after the cup, I blow out of there. I don't stick around for the ticker tape parade or nothing, right? Who doesn't stick around for a ticker tape parade in New York, Manhattan, right? I blew out of there. I figured if I just got home, maybe this stuff would go away. I didn't know what was going on. Like, I had no idea, right? I figured maybe it was just the environment, whatever. If I get home, maybe these thoughts will go away. Maybe these terrible thoughts, these things I'm having, the anxiety, depression. So I blow out of there. I fly home. And what does it make me look like, though? It makes me look like a bad guy. Rangers management's like, well, who the hell doesn't stick around for a ticker tape parade, right? Is he disgruntled? Mike Richter played all the games. Like, is he pissed? So then you start to look like a bad teammate, bad guy, because people are making excuses. Could have been furthest thing from the truth, right? So after about 2 weeks sitting at home, you know, trying to figure out what's going on, going to bookstores, all these places, like, I don't know what's going on. I find nothing. I find no help, no hope. I don't know what's happening. Nothing's going away. And I'm at home in Calgary for about 2 weeks. So then I go to Kamloops, where I played junior hockey, won a Memorial Cup there. My buddies were there. My girlfriend was there at the time. I'm about 21 years old now. And I get there and I figure maybe if I just go there, it'll go away, right? Just keep running from the problem, running from my own brain. But you can't. Mental health you can't run from. So about 2 weeks after in Kamloops, this shit's still not going away. Right? Nothing's going away. I don't know where to go. I'd never been educated on any of this stuff. I didn't know what a psychologist was, psychiatrist, anything. All I knew was I wasn't telling anybody because there's a massive stigma, and heaven forbid, you know, someone found out, you know, it would ruin me. So I'm still with some friends in Kamloops one night, and I'm standing there, I'm talking with some buddies, it's about midnight, had a couple beers, not like drunk or anything like that. And I'm standing there, and I just get this wave of nothingness over me. No anxiety, no depression, no thoughts, no OCD thoughts, no anything. But I can't get a positive thought in my head. Like, I can't get a positive thought in my head. And I'm just like, fuck it, I'm done. I can't live like this. I can't live like this. There's no way. So it's like, okay, buddy, well, how are you gonna do this? Well, I had the sports car. It was a turbo. Every time you shifted gears, it sucked you back to your seat fast. I was like, let's go see how fast this car can go. So I take it into the back mountains of Kamloops, where I know there's a straightaway and there's a left turn. If you don't make the straightaway or the left turn, you're going over the edge, right? Fuck, perfect, you know? Like I say, so I sit there, I get up there and I sit there, I'm like, I can't get a positive thought in my head. It's like there's a force field, like, let's just do this. Crank the tunes, fire the car up, shifting gears, it's sucking me back to my seat. I get the car up to about 120, 140 miles an hour. I am flying down the straightaway, right? Coming up to the end, and all of a sudden I get this thought, well, what if you don't die? What if you go over the edge and you just end up mangled and you're stuck like this forever, right? Hammer on the brakes. There's another OCD thought. What if? You know, OCD thoughts put me there, one saved my life, right? But now I'm laying there, I'm standing there, I'm bawling, I'm staring at the steering wheel, I'm praying to God or whatever, the universe, somebody please help me. Because now I can't even take my own life. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm a prisoner in my own brain. So I take my car back, I go back to my girlfriend's house. It's about 2 a.m. now, I put my arm around her, crawl into bed. She had no idea until that article came out. I was 10 seconds away from being a statistic. I told nobody. I didn't tell that story, I buried it with me. I thought I was gonna die with it. So what do I do from there? Well, I have no choice. I just got to try and figure it out, right? Try and live, try and figure it out. I don't know what to do. But I end up learning how to kind of function with it, function with the anxiety, the panic attacks. I go to Rangers training camp that September, but that September with Rangers training camp, right, they think I'm a bad teammate, I'm a bad guy, right? I'm late for meetings, I'm not training, you know, I'm struggling just to keep up. But the ice was my sanctuary. And the people ask me, you know, like, did hockey do this to me? Is hockey the reason I have mental health issues? Hockey saved my life. Sport is one of the greatest things you can ever give as a gift for mental health, right? Gave me a place to go, taught me resilience, courage, skills, all those things I needed to stay alive and keep going. Michael Phelps, 23 gold medals, suffers from anxiety and depression. Sport is one of the greatest gifts you can give somebody. So no, hockey didn't do this to me. Hockey saved my life. But from there, the Rangers trade me to Vancouver because they're trying to trade me because, again, they think I'm just get rid of the problem. They don't know what to do, right? Nobody's asking. So I get traded to Vancouver, and it's like a new lease on life. Nobody knows anything there. Nobody knows my problems. Nobody knows my issues, right? So I'm doing pretty good. Things are going good. But that next September, this is now September of '95, I have to make the team. I still have to make the NHL. I've got full-blown mental health issues, panic attacks and everything, right? And that next September, I end up making it to the NHL. And I say that because it's not bragging or like, hey, I'm this or that. Because just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean you're weak. I made the NHL, right? I am not weak. And if you think somebody is because they have mental health issues, they are not weak either. From there, I end up on the NHL rookie team. I have an excellent year, end up playing really well. But mental health is like anything else. Like, you have to get the help, right? Like, you can't walk around with a broken leg and just figure it's going to go away, right? It doesn't work like that. The following season, 96-97 season, well, that summer I start to struggle again, right? Not training, not eating properly. Like, I'm really starting to spiral again. I lose 25 pounds. I'm 145 pounds trying to play in the National Hockey League. Had a decent start to the year, but eventually it's just going downhill. I remember going into the shower once, coming out, and Marty Jelena looks at me and goes, Hershey, what's wrong with you? I was skin and bones. I was 145 pounds. But I was not telling anybody. I was just hoping to hide it as long as I could, buy some time and maybe figure this out. But what happens is in November, Kirk McLean gets hurt. So Kirk McLean was my goalie partner, and now I'm the guy. I got to play all the games, right? And I'm struggling. So I got to play all these games. And in November, we have a trip. We go to New York. We play the Islanders one night. Next night, we play New Jersey. And I'm back to where I was in New York 3 years ago. I'm on my knees. Like, I'm not doing very well, but I got to get through this. Night before the game in New York, we go out for dinner, and I remember ordering food, go out for a team dinner, and all my teammates are looking at me because I'm not eating. I can't eat the food. I'm looking at the plate going, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I can't eat. And Dave Babbage looks at me and goes, Hershey, you're going to have your dinner? And I'm like, make up some bullshit excuse, right? That's what you do because you're trying to hide. And I'm like, no, I'm not hungry. I ordered 8 earlier. But that was a catalyst. So the next morning I wake up, we have morning skate on the island. We play the Islanders that night, and I got to play the game, and I wake up and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, I got 2 choices. I can reach out for help, or I can, this time really get it done. And that's how sick my brain was that, option B looked pretty good. And I was like, okay, well, let's ask for help, because if it doesn't, if there isn't, well, fuck it, I'm not here anyways, right? I'll be gone. So I went and I pulled the trainer aside, Nassau County Coliseum, way away from the players because I didn't want them to know. And his name is Mike Bernstein. I said, Bernie, I'm not doing very well. Bernie's like, yeah, Hershey, we know, we can tell something's up, right? Like, I'm not telling anybody. And I said, no, Bernie, I'm suicidal, right? This is an NHL trainer, never heard an NHL player say that before, right? His face goes blank. He's like, okay, well, can you play tonight? And I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm okay, I can play tonight. He's like, get yourself ready to play, I'll figure this out, okay? But I didn't know what he was doing in the background. So I go play that night, I'm terrible, losing overtime. Now my teammates are really starting to hate me, right? They don't like me because they don't know what's going on. I'm not telling anybody. We're losing games. I'm getting treated like the plague. I get in a fight that night. Next day, we bus to New Jersey. We got to play the Devils that night in New Jersey. So we have another morning skate the next day. We bus from the hotel to the rink. We got to play that night. And I'm on the ice in morning skate, and guys are shooting pucks. And I can't see pucks all of a sudden, right? Like, I've got so much anxiety, the pot's just boiled over. I'm having like an out-of-body experience. It's like the kettle's boiled over, right? It's like you have so much anxiety. I learned it's called depersonalization or something later, but I can't do this anymore, right? I'd never pulled myself from a game in my life until that point. I skated over to Tom Rennie. I said, Tom, I can't play. He's like, okay, Hershey, I got this. Go get changed in the locker room. All of my teammates are wondering what's going on, right? Whatever. So I go, I get changed. We're sitting in the locker room. Coach calls an emergency team meeting, right? I'm in the corner of the square locker room, like in New Jersey. All my teammates are there. I've got my head in my knees. I'm a shell of a human being, and I'm not doing very well. My teammates in this meeting are like Pavel Bure, Trevor Linden, Russ Courtnall, all these guys, Yerke Lume, Dave Babbage, all these guys that were my peers that I look up to that I wanted to, be like. And here I am, 145 pounds shell of a human being in the corner. Tom says Hershey can't play tonight. Mike Fountain's going to play. If anybody asks in the media, just tell him he's got the flu. And that was it. That was the meeting, right? I was like the most embarrassing, shameful moment of my life. But Tom didn't know what to do either. Nobody knew what to do, right? I get in the shower, I come out, I'm the flag. Like, no one will talk to me. I sit at the front of the bus, and I remember looking out the window, I had a tear rolling down my face because my teammates are rolling by me one by one, right? No one will even look at me. And I didn't want to sit, I just sat as far away from them as possible. And I remember looking out the windows, I had a tear, and I was like, I just threw my NHL career away. And I did. I bounced around the minors after that. No one really knew what to do with me. Kind of got labeled as that. But I say this, it was also the same day that I saved my own life because I reached out for help, right? I went back to Vancouver with the team. Mike Bernstein, a psychologist, come to my apartment, and I had the same process with the psychologist. I'm going to tell this guy everything. If there's no help, no hope, well, fuck it, I'm done. I'll just check out, right? That's how sick my brain was. So the psychologist comes. I'd never seen a psychologist before, right? Comes to my apartment, sits down with me, I spill everything to him. After about 20 minutes, he looks at me, he goes, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm like, what the hell is that? He's like, well, it's a mental health issue, It's not curable, but it's highly treatable. You're gonna go and on to have a great life, and you're gonna do all these great things. And I just sat there bawling in front of him because 3 years of my life gone, like gone. My NHL career, all of that. Because of the stigma, because of the locker room, because of all those things attached to mental health, I lost 3 years of my life and I almost ended up dead, right? It can't be like that anymore. So it took me 10 years after that to find somebody that could truly help me. And then another 10 before I was comfortable to come up with my story in the Players Tribune. So 20 years from diagnosis was the first time I told my story publicly, right? It can't be like that anymore. It can't be like that for our kids, for anybody, We've got people taking their own lives. They need to know that there's help available, that we can get to them, right? That we can do these things. So what did I learn? Well, I wasn't alone, right? This was the article follow-up from Dark. You're not alone, man. 2 million hits in under an hour. So if you struggle in this room, 2 million hits in under an hour. You are not alone. And in fact, actually, if I could get everybody just to stand up quickly for a second, we'll take a little break here. No, just stand up, please, if you could, for me, please. Thank you. If you know somebody with addiction, anxiety, depression, bipolar, OCD, schizophrenia, whatever, mental health-wise, if you know somebody, maybe it's you, maybe you know somebody took their own life, can you please sit down for me? Right? All right. Well, look around the room, right? You're not alone. And if you did stand up in the end and I didn't catch you, well, now you know me. So guess what? You do know somebody, right? We all know somebody. 245 people here. We all know. So what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? Why are we afraid to go get help, right? Be somebody that somebody can talk to. A couple things that were missed with me, but first, before I go on, I brought my silver medal, so I'm going to hand it out. I keep it in my back pocket because it's a great way to meet girls, and I'm single. So, I know you're not a girl, but that's okay. We'll pass it out, take a look at it, pass it around. So things that were, to look for, things that were missed with me. Well, change in behavior, grades for your kids and all that. I went from NHL all-rookie team to not even be able to play in the minors. My stats dropped off a cliff, right? Withdrawing. When I struggle, I'll withdraw from people. Change in circle of friends with your kids, erratic sleep habits, being late often, conversations, substance abuse. That's a big one, right? Substance abuse. I don't sit here and preach abstinence from alcohol or whatever. You do whatever you want to do. It's your life, right? But if someone is drinking or using recreational drugs to excess, well, something's up, right? Like something's up. They're not doing it because, that's typically a way to self-medicate. We have Hastings Street in Vancouver, and I think it's a bit like Yonge Street here in Toronto, but it's fucking heartbreaking, We go walk by those people and they're, an addict, a junkie or whatever. They're not just another addict. They're not just another junkie. We need to try to have compassion for those people because something traumatic has happened to them and it's put them there, right? They all grew up wanting to be doctors and lawyers and hockey players and all that too. They didn't, no one goes and says, hey, I want to just grow up to live on the streets, be homeless. No, man, something traumatic has put them there, and they are self-medicating. I have a friend that I took into a treatment facility about a year ago, suffered from alcohol. And all the way there, and again, excuse my language if there's anybody gets offended by the odd F-bomb, I don't think so though, but all the way there, she's like, how the fuck did I end up here? Bawling, right? How did my life get here? She never thought she'd be in a treatment facility, right? A year later, she's doing amazing. Not drinking, she's got her business is doing amazing, and actually, you know, like, she was sexually assaulted, right? Something traumatic put her there. Now, people have to be a part of their own recovery, right? And they have to want to get the help, but we need to have compassion for them because something traumatic and they're self-medicating, right? So let's get into other people's businesses if we have to. So how do I talk to somebody? Well, you have a tell me conversation. What's a tell me conversation? Well, we always talk, we go, hey, how are you doing? And then we roll by, hey, how's it going? How's this, how's that? When you talk to your kids, come into the door, say, hey, tell me what's going on at school today. Tell me what's up. Tell me who you're hanging out with. Tell me what you thought of the hockey game. Use the terms tell me. You got to give you a little bit more, right? Opens up a conversation. Someone opens up to you, listen without judgment, right? I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not qualified to treat anybody, but I can listen. And sometimes that's all people need. They just need you to listen. And lastly is when you share some of your own story, that's when people will open up to you, you know? That's the amazing power of sharing is that when you share, someone else shares to you, right? Like I'm telling you guys stuff, I'm gonna hang out here after, you guys tell me anything. Like I've shared my stuff, everybody knows there's nothing, you can share anything with me, you know? When you share some of your own story, that's when people will open up back to you because there's a likeness, right? And feel not judged. So this photo here is Mario Lemieux. Yeah, he scored, just like, yeah, Peter, yeah, whatever. But the story goes like this. I'm 20 years old, I get my 4th NHL game, it's in Madison Square Garden. Mario is licking his lips, he sees a 20-year-old kid in net, 5'10", goalies are like 6'7" now. But he's like, they're going for the NHL record for wins. So put it this way, Mario had 3 goals on me, 2 on Richter, he had 5 that game. I ended up on the bench after the second period, right? I didn't end up finishing the game. Pretty good player, he's did it to a lot of people, so I don't feel that bad. But thing is that after a game like this, I would beat the crap out of myself. I'd be like, you were the worst NHL goalie, how the hell did you even get here? All those negative things. You know, just beat myself down because that's what I was taught. I was taught to beat myself down. Well, 2 years later, I didn't know this was going to happen.
In close quarters on the board, stripped from Burry, shot out to center. Mario's got a breakaway, in over the blue line, heads for the net. Great save by Corey Hirsch. Stop the big guy on a breakaway, and it's...
Yeah, up 3-2 in the third, about 3 minutes to go, right? Stop Mario on a breakaway. Suck on that, Mario, you and your 600 goals, right? But I didn't know that was going to happen, so why did I beat the shit out of myself 2 years ago, right? I didn't play in the NHL for 2 years, you know, it took me a while to recover from that. But you got to be your own best advocate. If 6-year-old Corey, this is actually 7-year-old Corey Hirsch, I think, is, you know, if I told that kid he was going to play Madison Square Garden, he's going to play, he's only going to last 2 periods, right? Mario's going to light off. He'd be like, whoa, no way, like, how do I get the chance? Just give me the chance, right? But as we get older, we start to be more abusive to ourselves and we beat ourselves up. I'm nicer to other people than I am to me. Well, why? I got to live with me every day, right? Like, be good to you. Be good to you. If you can't be your own best cheerleader, who's going to be it, right? Talk nice to you. Be good to you. You deserve it, right? And that's a big part of mental health, right? I'm not going to just sit here and go, hey, just think positive, you know? Let's just go for a walk. No, it doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like that. Every day it takes a chance to be good to you because you deserve it, right? Because good things are going to happen. Good things are coming, right? So what do? Well, self-work. What do I do for self-work? Nutrition, exercise, sleep. I try to get out in nature, relaxation exercises. Try to have kindness and compassion, not just for other people, but for me, right? Kindness and compassion for me, for Corey. I'm doing the best I can, right? Doing the best I can. We all are, right? Be good to you. And I went through a whole self-love, self-hate thing with myself for mental health and working on those things. And people are like, yeah, when I learned, oh yeah, you just go in front of the mirror 10 times every day, tell yourself you love yourself. I love Corey, blah, blah, blah. I guess I love myself now, right? It doesn't work that way, right? It doesn't work that way. Self-love is these things: nutrition, exercise, sleep, self-punishment, you know, getting angry, getting pissed at other people. Like I used to get mad at stuff. You know, all I was doing was punishing myself. I wasn't punishing them, right? envy, lust, greed, those are all things. Those are all ways that we hate ourselves. These are the ways we love ourselves. If we want to have healthy mental health, these are good things to have. 4 keys to help myself. So I like to use a few things: opposite action, mindfulness, gratitude, being of service. Opposite action is like when I get pissed at something, well, it's punishment for me. Like I said, what I do is I try to kill them with kindness, right? Makes me feel better, makes the situation better. Mindfulness, it's been proven, meditation, all that stuff. It regenerates brain cells. But the last 2 big ones are gratitude and being of service. So what is gratitude, right? Well, it's just the act of being thankful. And I'm thankful today because I'm here getting to speak to you, but you guys are helping me. Every time I get to talk, every time I get to share my story and help somebody else, one of my chains fall off. The last one is life I learned is being of service. And this is a tough one for a hockey player, man, for all of us. When I played in the NHL, it was all about me, my pregame, my this, my that, Corey Hirsch this, Corey Hirsch this. What are they saying in the paper? We blah, 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 all this, right? It's all about me, 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 me. And you're young, and that's what it is. That's just what it is. When I got finished in the National Hockey League playing hockey, I had to look in the mirror and say, nobody's looking for Corey Hirsch anymore. What's life all about, right? And when that article came out, I learned that being of service, 2 million hits, man. And I've been able to come here, I'm able to help people, I'm able to talk to people. Life is about helping other people. And when you help other people, it comes back to you tenfold, right? You meet people, you get good things back to you. Silent stigma is still out there. One is medication, the other is getting help equals being weak. I'm on meds. I'm standing here. I'm not afraid to admit it, of course, right? I mean, it's what it is. Yeah? My brain doesn't function properly, right? I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for OCD. I didn't say, hey, give me that. That sounds like fun, No different than someone with cancer or diabetes. Something doesn't function properly. They need medication, right? My brain, something doesn't function properly, right? I didn't ask for it. So why am I made fun of? Why do we make fun of people on meds? Or why is it such a bad thing? And if you're on meds and you're in this room, you are no less of a person than anybody else. I applaud you for doing what you need to do. Now, I don't push pharma. I don't believe in, pharma and all that, like big pharma. But, we have psilocybin coming. We have all sorts of interesting plant medicines coming that are really cool, different treatments. There is always a path ahead. If you are struggling in this room and you think that there is no path ahead, I promise you there is one. There always is one. The other is getting help equals being weak, right? That's the big one. I was taught all those things in a locker room. Don't talk, men don't talk to their stuff. They don't cry. Don't hold your girlfriend's hand, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff that I was taught too as a guy, right? Well, where did it get me? It almost killed me, I always say this, if I was successful at taking my own life that day, at my funeral, do you think my teammates would have come and they would have said, hey, what a man, you sucked it up, Do you think Pablo Bure would have said that? What if he sucked it up? He went out like a man, he didn't talk to anyone, he didn't tell anybody. No, he would have said the same thing each one of you would say to somebody else. Why didn't he tell me? Why didn't he talk to me, right? Why didn't he tell me? We could have helped him, right? Be somebody that somebody can talk to and be somebody, that's willing to talk. Social media. We are not putting back the genie in the bottle. Between 2007 and 2017, suicide rates for ages 10 to 24 went up 56%. Well, when did social media come, right? So we can teach people or our kids to use it for a weapon, or we can teach them to use it for good, right? One or the other. When we use it for good, it's a great thing. But I was doing some TV games. I did the color for the Canucks. John Garrett got sick. I ended up doing some TV games. I used to do the radio. It was my first 5 TV games. I thought I was doing pretty good. I was patting myself on the back. I was on TV. People on Twitter were like, hey, he's doing good. He's, all this stuff, all that stuff. And I was reading my own. I was it was great. When some lady tweeted, I swear if I have to listen to Corey Hirsch commentate one more fucking game, I'm going to stab myself in the face. I called my mom immediately. She swore it wasn't her. But yeah, this person decided to use it as a weapon, right? Why? He doesn't know me, right? I mean, I've been booed by 20,000 people many times, but it's still like, so any time you send that tweet or that, am I using this for a weapon or am I using this for good? And if we can teach our kids that, man, we can make a world of difference. It's such a big platform that we can have. But like I said, it can also go the other way. That's just a really cool photo. It has nothing to do with the presentation. I'm not getting any better looking than that. Good shadowing. Stupid, I know. But why do I do what I do? Well, my kids, right? Those are my kids, man. My oldest daughter, Colorado, she's a teacher. My boy works at BMO, he's a bank teller. My youngest is a ballerina in Stuttgart, Germany, doing incredible, right? These are my kids. These are my kids, man. All of that gone. I don't know where you're at in this room today. I have no idea where anybody's in this room today, but if you are struggling, I promise you, if you get the help, it gets better, right? And you don't need to suffer alone. This is my posse. These are my kids, man. All of that, if I'd taken my life, gone, right? All of it. And like I said, it gets better. I promise you, if you get help, it gets better. And you're not too manly or too tough to get help, right? I went to get help. I can still shoot a gun or fix a car or get in a fight, whatever you think manly, and I went and got help, right? And there's many more of us. This is my boy. So this is another one of my favorite pictures. And again, I'll tell you why. Is because, so Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, they tore it down. I got my first NHL start in Joe Louis Arena. And when my boy is 15 or 16 here, his team was playing a tournament in Detroit. And I got to take them that last year, his whole team, to the game. And lo and behold, I didn't know where the seats were going to be, but that's the seat I got my first NHL start in, right? That end. What a cool moment. My boy got to share that with me, right? It gets better. I promise you, it gets better, right? So I want to introduce you to somebody. So this is Julie. So Julie, she's the inspiration for my talk and to try and help people. And that's why it's called One More Day. So beautiful girl. I dated Julie about 4 or 5 years ago. Awesome. Funny, fun, like just, love of my life. Great girl. Great girl. She'd come in here. She'd be like, have everybody like die and everyone would love her. She'd be awesome. We're sitting on our couch one day and we're making small talk and we're talking back and forth. And just watching a movie, like just whatever. And I'm like, hey, well, if you could have anything in your life, what would you want? Like what would you want if you could have anything? And she's like, oh, you go first. And I'm like, okay, well, car, golf clubs, golf membership, something like, guyish, right? Something material. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, what about you? And she pauses and she goes, Corey, I just try to get through one more day. And I just went, that's it? She's like, yeah, I just try to get through one more day. And at the time I was like, okay, I went back to watching the movie. She had a couple little kids, their own business. I knew life wasn't easy. And 3 months later, she took her own life. I had no idea. I don't want anyone in this room ever to get that phone call that I got, ever. And if you have, I am so sorry. It dropped me to my knees, right? Right? I had no idea, right? I had no idea this was going to happen. For about a year, I drank hard. Like, I drank my face off, really, Tried to kill it with booze. Tried to go around it. Self-medicating, just like those things I talked about. I'd never had an alcohol problem before that, but sure enough, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., right? Get up every day, start over. I remember I was doing radio, and I would go out on the road for dinner with the other broadcasters. After dinner, we'd come back to our rooms. I'd go back to my room for about 10 minutes. I'd peek out the door. Nobody there. Back out till like 2, 3 a.m., right? Cycle I did, like self-medicating. Thought I was fooling everybody, right? Functioning alcoholism, whatever. Nobody knows I'm drinking, blah, blah, blah. After about a year, I get on the phone. I get a phone call. And it's a buddy of mine, Daryl Sador, who played in the NHL and had some Stanley Cups. And he's like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, good. Next thing I know, there's 6 other people on this call, Dr. Brian Shaw from the NHL, a couple of my other buddies, friends. And I'm like, holy shit, this is an intervention. Something I never thought I'd be a part of, right? Something traumatic happened that put me there, right? They wanted me to go into treatment right there. I quit drinking for, for probably about 6 months. And it was when I healed, because I tried to go around it with booze and self-medicate, but I had to go right through the middle. And fuck, was it hard? But I finally healed, right? But the point of that story is that I had 6 buddies that gave a shit, that cared enough to call me and put that together, right? We always don't want to get in anybody's business. They knew they had to get into my business, history of mental health issues, possible, history of a suicide attempt, right? Now, here's the other deal. I took it and I ran with it in the fact that I went, and got the help and did what I needed to do. You got to be a part of your own recovery. And you might get into somebody intervention if you need to, and they might not want the, they might get pissed off at you. They might not want the help. But you have to make that attempt. You have to make that try, right? You can't force somebody to get help. But I'll tell you what, if you do and they do, it might save their life, right? Just like my buddy saved mine. But I do want to show you guys something else too.
Get the shot off. McSorley, Gretzky to the middle. Gretzky shot. Saved by Hirsch. Quick glove on Wayne Gretzky's wrist shot. The Kings firing away at will. Good puck move.
Yeah, 894 goals and none on Corey Hirsch. Suck on that, Wayne. I only played one game against him, but I'm taking it as credit. No. But about a year, I got a good Gretzky story. I'd never met Wayne, so I was golfing in LA with Russ Courtnall, and they lived on the same course, and I was doing the radio in Vancouver. We had a couple of days off, so I went down to visit Russ, and we were playing 18th hole and 9th, and the 9th met up, and Gretzky's group was kind of in front, and I was like, holy shit, that's Wayne Gretzky, right? I'm like, Russ, you got to introduce me to Wayne, right? Like, I was never met the man before. And Russ is like, stop fanboying, you're embarrassing me. He's a friend of mine, you'll be in the clubhouse, right? I don't want to embarrass Russ. So we get in the clubhouse. I talked to Gretzky for about 45 minutes just straight across, like it was one of the greatest days of my life, right? Awesome, what a nice man. Everything you hear about him, he's such a good human being, right? Wants to know every goal he scored, just wants to talk hockey, but what a great human being. But I got to catch a flight back to Vancouver. So I get up and I'm like, I want to talk to Wayne. I don't want to go back to Vancouver, but I got to go. So I get up and I stand up. I go, Wayne, it was really nice to meet you. I don't get a photo, or I don't have a photo because Russ doesn't want me to fanboy. I'm still pissed about that. But anyway, so I go to shake his hand and Gretzky's like, hey, wait a second. Did I ever play against you? And I'm like, yeah, this was my second NHL game in the LA Forum. We won. I said, yeah, we beat you. My first NHL win was against you. He's like, did I score that night? And I said, no, you didn't, and I know you lose sleep over it. If you need a psychiatrist, I got one for you. And I walked out, and then I was like, holy shit, I just burned Wayne Gretzky. Oh my God, who does that the first time to meet him? But apparently he was laughing, he thought it was great. But anyways, yeah, that's my Wayne Gretzky story. What a great man. But we're gonna wrap it up here quickly, but I got a video, what I'm doing. I got a podcast called Blindsided with Players Tribune. All professional athletes, all that have gone to get help, right? There's no shame in getting help. We'll watch that and then we'll kind of wrap things up here after that.
Tennis for me has always been a release. Sport has always been something where I've been able to escape what was happening on the outside.
I had all these emotions like bottled up in me, but my freedom was going to the outdoor rink and playing hockey out there.
My anxiety just starts building up and my head gets racing. When I'm going through it, you can't think clearly, so I didn't see it until after I backed away and I started seeking help.
For me, something that was difficult was, why don't I know how I feel? In any sport, if they sprain an ankle, they know exactly what to do to start treating that ankle. So what about when you have a mental injury? Why don't you have that same understanding of how to treat what's happening in the heart and in the mind?
Even at the peak of my life and performance, I never wanted people to know that I was dealing with this. I'm running past our team trainers, I'm running past a couple of teammates that are getting treatment in the back. I feel like I'm having cardiac arrest and I can't get oxygen to my brain. And I mean, that was one of the scarier moments in my life because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought I was dying.
Being proud of your scars is a thing. It's made you who you are. I don't think that those guys still to this day realize what they did for me as an individual. It takes an army. Just being in that winning environment and positivity and having fun, it was a complete overhaul.
Welcome to Blindsided.
Mental health, sports, and life.
So yeah, all professional athletes, all that have gone to get help, right? Kevin Love, NBA All-Star, had a panic attack on the court in front of 20,000 people, right? He's got a foundation now doing incredible. Nate Boyer says it best, be proud of your scars. We all have them. I don't know how tough everybody's life has been in here. We all have a story, we all have scars, right? We can all go get help. Paul Bissonnette, Spittin' Chicklets, TNT, you guys probably know who he is, right? Good friend of mine. His best friend took his own life when he was 17, right? things we don't know about people, things we don't know. We all got scars, right? Go get the help that you need. So if you need to reach me, I don't usually do a Q&A because it's a personal thing, right? But I'll hover around if somebody has questions or wants to chat. Yeah, you can go to my website, CoreyHirsch.com. Email me at CoreyHirsch@CoreyHirsch.com, or my Instagram at CoreyHirsch72. Nice things, right? Good, not weapon, right? Say nice things. But yeah, thank you for having me here today. And I need your help. I need your help, right? There's a kid out there right now contemplating ending his or her own life, and we can't let that happen as a society. We cannot let that happen. They need our help, right? They need our help. So I want you to text 2 people today if you can. Do me a favor, 2 people. Maybe 1. If you can only do 1, do 1. But hey, tell me what's happening. Tell me what's going on in your life. Tell me what's going on in your world. When I start to struggle and I disappear for a few days, I always get a text from one of my buddies, hey, just checking in, Hershey, what's going on, And it always brings me back, right? It just lets me know that they care. It just lets me know. So if you can do that for me. But lastly, Black and McDonald, thank you so much. This is my second talk with you guys. And just what you guys do is just, for this, you're helping me spread the word as much as I'm helping. And you guys do such a fantastic job of this, and you really care. So thank you so much for that. And I just want to thank you all for listening to me today, because like I said, every time I get to tell my story, one of my chains falls off. So thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks, my man. Hey, who's got my silver medal? I need that.
If you're single, keep it.
Oh, then what are my chances? Thanks, guys.
I really want to thank Corey for his time here today and sharing such an inspirational story with us. I think it's clear that every one of us in this room, myself included, knows someone or has personally experienced or is experiencing some level of mental health related issue. And it's important to know that nobody is alone and there is support out there. So again, if Corey's story helped one person in this room today, it was worth every second of his time and ours. So again, I really want to say thank you and appreciate the time that Corey took to speak to us and the Black and Mac family today. So another round of applause for Corey. Now, I definitely need to apologize to Huma and Brandon for having to follow that act, but we're going to get going on with the next step of our presentation here, and we're going to get the HR update and service awards from Huma and Brandon.
Do. Oh, that was intense. I almost cried. I get very emotional when I hear these things. So thank you very much, Corey, for coming in. Thank you for everyone coming in here. Speaking of that, I also just want to mention that talking about mental health, we do have multiple different programs. One of the programs that we have with Black and McDonald's is our EAP program, which is provided by TELUS Health Mobility. So I always encourage every single person that starts with us that if you have any questions, you know how to reach out to me. Just reach out to me. You don't need to tell anybody. Just talk to me. Talk to your friend. Call this number, whatever you need. I had multiple people reaching out to me, and I get very excited because I get to help somebody do something. So don't ever hesitate. We have a great platform on, you probably heard of The Wire. Great platform. Go on it, search for anything. Something doesn't make sense to you, I'm here. You have my information. Just send me a quick message, text message, Teams message, email, call. I'm always here to provide assistance in any way. If you're part of the union members and you can't find anything in the EAP, always reach out to your union. You always have different programs as well. So every single person in this room has ability to reach out to any of these programs and take advantage of it if you need. If you're unsure, like I said, reach out to your managers, coworkers, or just reach out to me. You guys know where I sit, Pullman, stop by. Without any further ado, I'm gonna be moving forward. The first thing we're going to, I always forget how to use these. So we got a couple of things on the agenda. With the given time, I'm gonna try to squeeze everything in. It's the usual spiel that I give every quarterly meeting. Thank you very much for everyone who actually did their employee survey today. I really appreciate it, as I cannot stress out the fact how important these are to us, to our management team. We have such an amazing management team, up and coming with new management, with Steve taking Afra coming in, and so many different division managers. I want to provide that feedback to everybody. So you taking that moment and completing it, you have no idea how much I appreciate that. If anybody did not complete it and wish to complete, I still have one box outside. Takes less than 5 minutes to complete it. If you can do that, again, really, really appreciate that. Moving forward, as our business grows, as great presentation by our line division, and Taryn talked about so many different things, our team also grows. And speaking about team, our HR team is starting to grow as well, because we want to be here and support you guys in every possible way to make sure that we're here for you. So before further ado, I'm gonna call 2 new people that have joined our team. Our new HR director, Shahara Morrison, and our HR manager, Brandon McCracken. If I can have you guys up here. I'm not gonna give you an introduction on these guys because I think they got this covered, but I'm gonna pass it on, and I'll see you guys shortly. Thank you.
All right.
So you can see from up there, I'm not the shy type. When this picture was taken, no one told me that the cameras were coming in, and I had the same jacket I'm wearing today, so my apologies. This is where communication is super important in any organization. So on that note, when we talk about people, leaders, even today, the concept of teamwork and our people and our supervisors and culture have come up throughout your presentations. And that shows the commitment that Black & McDonald has to this organization and to the people that are right here. So our job as HR team is to help the company move that agenda along and be there for you guys in any support function we can make. In terms of my background, I'm not going to go into that too detailed, but I do come from cement, ready mix, aggregates. I come from curtain wall, so I'm not a stranger to the construction-related industries, but I am new to the HR team here, so hopefully they'll put up with me for the next 6 weeks as I get to know them. But I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
All right, so my name is Brendan McCracken, and this is actually my second tour of duty with Black & McDonald. I was here under actually Wes Pegg in safety as a health and safety advisor from 2008 to 2013. Left for a little while, and I'm back here in the HR group, so I'm happy to be here, glad to be here. Feel a few familiar faces that I see still, a couple that are on the first projects I was on together, and other ones I was on after that, so familiar with the utility group, yeah. So looking forward to getting to know people more. I'm sure we'll see each other as we move on. Don't want to keep from the service awards, so I think we'll pass it along and start with the service awards. So Steve, I believe, and Huma. No.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Once again, guys, great welcome to Shahara and Brandon. It's great to have them here. Yeah, no, we're gonna quickly. Brandon is a San Francisco fan. I'm not friends with him because I'm a KC fan. So KC won, so I don't have to say anything. A couple of things I want to really go through before we go into the service awards. It's our DEI. I always touch base on the DEI. There's always rooms for opportunity for you to volunteer. So feel free to reach out to me so I can direct you to our DEI committee members. The next event that's coming up is our Pride Month. So keep an eye out for any emails, any communication that's going to be going out. We're going to be sending out some stuff from the DEI, I think stickers, and I don't know much about it, but it's coming out, so look out for that as well. Represent, take pictures, send it over to me. I am a media junkie, and I'll definitely post it everywhere, tell everyone, represent utilities group, so send it to me. I'll look forward to those. Another thing I wanted to discuss is the scholarship program. This is very important. I wish I had that when I was growing up. This is something that Black and McDonald does. You guys probably seen a lot of communication come out regarding different scholarship programs and the deadline for it. Okay, I thought you were telling me something, sorry. So scholarship programs coming up. I have little snippets that I actually put up in the front. I also have some flyers. If you want to take some with you, take it with you. It would be great for your kids. If anybody is studying right now and they're looking to apply for a scholarship program, this can always help out. So look into the wire as well. Reach out to me as well, and I can provide you information if you're interested in it. Deadline is coming up soon to participate, complete your application form, and be part of the scholarship program. Not going to go into too many details because I managed to put all this into a little paper, and I put it up in the front. So if you want to stop by and grab it from me, you're most welcome to. Now we're going to be moving up to the service awards. We're not going to go into the Q&A. Sorry. Not that I don't want to hear anything, just, short of time. So if I can have Steve, and Jackie's going to assist us, I'm going to go by, so we have, as you guys know, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. So we're going to go with some names. We're going to start off with the 5-year ones. So the first, can I have Helen Steisner, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Helen? I guess Helen's not here. All right, we'll move on to Nielsen DeMello. No, take your time. Let's go! Woo! Nielsen! Congratulations! We have Michael Altamira. Yay, Michael! Okay. Next, we have Andrew Parent. I know I don't have the name, I'm sorry, I forgot to put it up there, but Andrew, please. Next, we have Sergio Buca. Sergio. Okay. Sergio's not here, so Trudy Laidlaw. Trudy here. Hey. Next, we have Teddy Gura. Following Teddy, we have Lawrence It. Moving on to the 10 years, Simon Siotor. Simon's not here. Tyrell Kerr. Hey. Daryl McFadden. Okay. I'll be sending all of those awards to you guys. And last but not least, we have Chuck. Look at that. Chuck Mossman. Woo! Thank you very much. And one last thing I'm going to do is, can I have everyone who recently started with us to stand up, please? Recently started with us. Everyone. I would like to thank you and welcome you to Black and McDonald family. We're happy to have you. Can't wait to work with you. And let's give a round of applause to all of our new hires. Thank you very much, guys. That was my cue to leave.
Yeah, that was her cue. Thank you very much, Uma. Thank you, Brandon. And Sahara or Shahara? Close enough? Okay. I'll learn it. Okay, I know I'm the only person here keeping you, most of you from going home tonight or going home for the entire weekend, so I'll try not to drag this out too long. Also, Corey does have a flight to catch, so I'm hoping us to get out of here so a few of you have a chance to chat with him out in the lobby. So I'll get started with some recent wins and awards, a couple closing comments, and we'll do the raffle as well. So In the MTO sector here, we've had some recent awards since the last quarter. City of Brampton Design Build. It's a supply and install and warranty services of 27 chargers for their fleet. That's roughly $3.2 million. Couple City of Toronto jobs, both rehab for bridges, Eastern and Adelaide at 1.7, and Allen Road underpass at $1 million. And definitely one that's of real note here, and there was some hesitation whether we should put this on or not, because I know AFRA said they didn't have a PO yet, but the award is there. But it's the design, supply, and install of the new LED lights and adaptive lighting controls for $12 million. So definitely a few significant awards recently in MTO. And I didn't want to only note new awards, because we have some divisions out here that have long-standing contracts that I want to highlight and for everybody who's either new to the company or hasn't heard of them. But under ITS Traffic, we've got the City of Toronto Traffic Signals Maintenance Contract. So there's another year and a half remaining on that contract. Hopefully we can get that renewed, and there's another $25 million there. And then under the Street Lighting Division here, we've got a maintenance contract with another 10 years remaining at $150 million. So significant work over the next 10 years for that group. And I know everybody's excited, Mark especially. Our second hydrovac is going to arrive in May, so to all the PCs, PMs, division managers out there, make sure that you're utilizing our Black & McDonald hydrovacs before you're getting any subcontracts out there. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that RENA especially. In the substation world, we're about to receive our full notice to proceed on EPC Maryville project. Oh, my bad, sorry. I flipped my pages, but not yours. There we go. EPC contract for the 230 kV GIL building at Maryville. That's definitely a very high-profile project for Hydro One, and that's estimated around the $65 million mark, and it's going to be a showcase project for Black & McDonald as well. Another very good successful win here was St. Antoine TS station upgrades. We just received the LNTP for that in writing yesterday finally, so some significant work there on top of what substations already has. As far as special projects, we just got a couple of awards over the last couple of weeks. So we've got the Newmarket Tay Power Little Lake Substation. So that's a greenfield substation build at just under $4 million, so that's a great win for that group. As well as with one of our partners, Kinetrix, we've got a substation refurb and relocation at about $4.5 million. So a few great projects there. I won't dabble too far into the lines because Taryn did, but as you can see, since our last quarter, we have a few really good awards there. So two Hydro One contracts, one EPC contract for Rogers, Prescott, and Russell at $2 million, and then as Taryn and Ryan spoke about, the PCB pole replacements for $2 million as well. And the Electra Bram East phase 1 through, I believe it's 4 actually, for $4 million. So, and then last but definitely not least, we've got some significant awards for engineering and technical services over the last little while. So I don't believe anybody mentioned it at the last quarterly, but they were awarded a pretty significant contract with Hydro One for PCTM in a box. So that gives them the ability to sorry, again. A little more heads up next time. It gives them the ability to basically construct the protection, control, and telecom buildings on behalf of Hydro One. So for any Black & McDonald awarded projects, for example, the ones I just noted, they'll be supplying panels and or the building internally. It also gives them the ability to supply directly to Hydro One and in a less likely scenario to some of our competitors, but they might be reluctant to give us those awards. But nonetheless, it's a great project for the technical services and engineering team. Again, Ryan spoke about this as well, and so did Lewis, but they've been awarded several capital and broadband distribution design scopes related to the BBFA. And obviously it's been a great partnership between our overhead lines, civil with Joe, who I don't know if is here, and engineering. In the Toronto Hydro world they were just moved up to the tier 2 for engineering and street lighting design, and that's quite significant because we're definitely one of the smaller groups that are working in there, but it's a tenacious group, and the quality work that they're putting out really speaks for itself. And last but not least, City of Toronto recently awarded a multi-year maintenance contract to the field services group. So I just want to give a round of applause to everybody who helped in the estimating and who's going to execute these projects. So that being said, if you want to look at our current backlog, including some of the long-term contracts I just spoke about in transportation with City of Toronto and Toronto Hydro, we're roughly 485 million in backlog, and that's most likely the largest backlog our region has had. Chuck's shaking his head yes, so I should have verified that, but it is the largest backlog we've ever had. And you know, with about $500 million in backlog, there's no shortage of work for anyone in this room and any of those who couldn't attend today or any of those who are remote. You know, while the backlog is great, it means nothing if the work can't be executed in a safe manner. I know our region's had a couple significant safety-related incidents in the recent months, and we need to refocus and remember that safety is paramount and needs to remain our #1 priority. So at the end of the day, you know, I ask everyone that's here, as you return to the office tomorrow or the job site on Monday, just remember that. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here to make money to support our families and go home at the end of the day, so we don't want to see anyone get hurt. So again, it's, if you see something, say something. If there's something unsafe, identify it, step away. Profit will never supersede safety in our company, so I just want everybody to make sure that they're aware of that and take a step back if you need to. So that being said, I know we've got only a few minutes left here, so I'm going to do the raffle first, and then I'll say a couple thank yous, and then we can all say goodbye to each other and go say hi to Corey or see our families there. So I don't know who's going to come help me with the raffle. Deborah? And if you are a division or a department manager, you have to rip up your ticket because you're not allowed to win. Actually, that goes for VPs as well. Okay, how many am I pulling? Okay. All right, first number here, we've got 939671. It's got to be somebody. There we go. I think it's the gentleman I saw parking the line truck on the road, so I like your cone placement. I'll verify, but I trust you. If you do me a favor and pick the next ticket for me. All right, next up we've got 939667. You're not allowed. Sanjay, that's you. Thank you, sir. If you could pull another one for me. All right, thank you, Sanjay. All right, next up, it's a different number rank here, so 317946. We got somebody jumping up. For everybody who doesn't know, this is Amanda, and she's new in accounting. Going once. Somebody snuck out. 939660. If you're in the bathroom, that's unfortunate. All right, 939666. Somebody's lucky number. We can't go two in a row. People are sneaking out.
They're losing out.
Okay, 939666. Oh, we do have a winner. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. I'll get you to pick the next one for me, and then you can steal your prize. Nope. Thank you, sir. All right, 317898. 317898. Okay. 317898. Okay. He was shy. I know. Congratulations. Yeah. Thank you kindly. Right, 939699. I was told to be more patient, so 939699. We've got Miss Slotty on the way up. 3 more? Okay. Here, I'll pick another one. While she's on her way up, let's get looking for 317893. Going once, going twice. 317893. Yeah. Actually, can I see that ticket? I don't know if
Thank you.
I'll do it. All right. Second to last, 939657. 939657, and we've got a winner. I'll do one last one.
Dig deep in there.
Okay, last but definitely not least. Thank you, sir. We've got 939607. I see a couple people standing, so it's got to be somebody. That's 2 winners for substations. I think it's 3 winners for substations. It might be rigged, but thank you. Hold on, I didn't say leave yet. I got to do a couple thank yous. We got 60 seconds, and you can all leave. First of all, I want to thank Taryn and the line division. Quiet, please. Taryn and the line division for hosting today and the presentations. And I want to actually thank everybody who gave a presentation today. I know it's not easy to get up on the stage all the time and talk in front of 230 people, so I want to thank you for that. A special thank you to Deb, obviously. She plans this event, makes sure we're well fed, and we have a roof over our head for our quarterly meetings, so it wouldn't be possible without her or the volunteers that she recruits. So I want to say thank you and a round of applause to all the volunteers and speakers. And yes, this will be my last sentence, so everybody can leave, but I want to thank each and every person in this room and those who couldn't make it today. You know, we have an amazing team here, and I just want to remind everyone to be kind. If Corey's message was anything, you never know what other people are dealing with, so you know, treat everybody with respect and kindness, and I know we, whether it be interpersonal, clients, whoever it may be, there's always conflict, but again, you don't know what people are dealing with, so be kind to each other and have a good weekend, everybody.